talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van Range. Score a winning hat-trick of performance, payload and price. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
With your headlines at 10:01, I'm Nick Ellaby. Good morning. Winning the Europa League is Nottingham Forest's main goal this season, according to Morgan Gibbs-White. They still haven't won a game under Ange, starting the competition with a 2-2 draw at Betis. The talkSPORT presenter and Forest fan Max Scott's excited by what he saw.
Incredibly fluid, exploiting so many spaces, creating so many opportunities. And for a fan base that has been used to sort of like quick counter-attacking football and really low possession, to see some of the football that they played in about a 20-minute period in that first half was amazing.
Meanwhile, Brendan Rodgers praised Kelechi Iheanacho's hold-up play as he rescued Celtic in a 1-1 draw at Red Star Belgrade. Now, Thomas Tuchel, take note. Guardiola says Phil Foden's best as a 10 behind the strikers.
Close to the box. I think I play in the pockets perfectly, but when he play a little bit free and close to the box, he gives you something that is unique. We know that.
Foden scored again in Man City's 2-0 win at Huddersfield. As the Carabao Cup score a Premier League clean sweep, the fourth round draw is up at talksport.com. England have named an unchanged team for the Women's Rugby Union World Cup final. Fresh from her stunning two-try display against France, Ellie Kildunn will spearhead England's attack against Canada at a sold-out Twickenham on Saturday. And ahead of tomorrow's Ryder Cup, Luke Donald's taken a little swipe at Team USA, saying Europe are fuelled by something money cannot buy. talkSPORT's US writer Brian T. Smith can't get his head round the Americans asking for money.
It's been a disadvantage. We're talking about this, right? The fact that the Americans have to pay their players to participate. Part of it goes to charity, but they're trying to do a PR spin on this, and none of it makes any sense.
Loads more build-up on the talkSPORT Golf YouTube channel.
talkSPORT News.
The Home Office is investigating an Afghan migrant who got UK asylum, then went on holiday to Afghanistan. And Ticketmaster's changing how it sells tickets after fans were left in the dark during last year's Oasis gig. More from the news team at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. With a huge range of premium brands available, we've got what you need to drive away happy every time. Visit your local centre or quickfit.com and book today.
Another settled day, plenty of sunny spells, but cloudier in the northwest and southeast where the odd light shower is possible.
Good morning, everybody. You're listening to Jim White and Simon Jordan. We're live on talkSPORT. So, Nottingham Forest kick off their Europa League campaign with a point at Real Betis. From Nuno to Ange, our Forest fans now recognising a positive evolution. Meantime, has Wayne Rooney become a great of the game and a cautionary tale, all in the same breath? Also today, is Gianni Infantino a world-changing leader? Why is the match abandonment process so damn convoluted? Has tennis shown that players actually deserve to be at the table? Where's the next level of opportunity for Aston Villa? And from midday, we talk boxing with fight pundit Spencer Oliver. It's Jim White and Simon Jordan, and we're live on talkSPORT.
100% engagement. Jim White and Simon Jordan on talkSPORT.
So I left you at the back of 1 o'clock yesterday on your birthday. And as you left the building, you seemed quite excited about the gift I gave you. No doubt you will have discovered that it was a gift voucher for a very nice fashion store.
Thank you very much.
But not for a lot of money. But I will chip in for the second shoe if you buy the first.
Very grateful.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Did you have a nice evening?
I spent it with my young son, who has this predilection for shoving as much pizza in his face as he possibly can. Seems to be his staple diet, much to his mother's horror.
Brilliant.
So that's what we did. We shoved pizza in our faces. And
is he beginning to show any signs that he's going to turn out like his dad?
Yeah, tragically, yeah. He's got a lot to say for himself. a lot of opinions on things.
All right.
Thinks he's entitled to do exactly as he wants to do when he wants to do it.
Well, Dad, it's funny you should ask. I don't have a dog in this particular fight. Does he start coming away with some of your... Not yet.
He's picking up a few... I mean, you know, he called me something quite offensive yesterday, which I think comes from his mother. His observation is that a good plan, Dad? Should we do this? Is that a good plan? You're 5.
If only he'd been around when you decided to buy Crystal Palace.
Well, you know, he could have done
a good plan,
Could have done a better job than my FD.
Simon, brilliant. Happy birthday belatedly, mate. It was a good show yesterday. We enjoyed it. The number of messages coming in from listeners pretending that they like you was quite remarkable. But thank you for that. The gentleman that works out in the gym in New Jersey got in touch with me as well. We gave him a mention yesterday. His name escapes me for the moment, but he sent me a very nice email. So thank you for that. You'll be listening today, no doubt, as well. Nottingham Forest, why not? They began their first European campaign in 30 years with a 2-2 draw at Real Betis. Now, I wonder, a promising start to their Europa League campaign, has it softened or has it hardened your belief that they'll go deep in this competition? I'm going to ask you that in a second, Simon, but this was Ange, who quite rightly was delighted.
Yeah, I thought we were outstanding. There won't be many teams that come here and dominate like we did in that period, and we just needed a third goal, you know, and it's hitting the post. It's coming off people's shins and going across goals that normally those kind of things go away. Look, I'm just disappointed the players and the supporters don't get the rewards for our efforts. I just got to make sure they keep their heads up because there's plenty to be positive about, and the wins will come, you know, if we keep playing our football like that.
Is he right, Simon? I mean, from what you took from it, is he on it there? Yeah, wins will come.
I mean, in the first half, Forest were light years above Betis, and they should have been. I mean, they went 1-0 down, obviously, but they came storming back, and they should have been out of sight. I mean, the dominance they had in the first half, and the amount of chances that they created, and they were very good chances. They'll look back on that and say, "Well, look, a point away." If they'd have been told at the beginning of this campaign that they get one of the most difficult games would have been Betis away, which is probably what they think, and they would have run riot for the first half and really could have been out of sight, they probably would have bitten your arm off at the shoulder. The fact is that they, in the second half, I think Douglas Luiz went off and they lost control of the game, and Betis came into it. Anthony looked like half a player, which he's not looked like at all at Manchester United.
Yeah.
But they were good. Once they lost control of the game, no one controls the game forever. They became a little bit disjointed, but for significant proportions of the game, they were very, very open still. And a very good side for us. So I have maintained the view that I think they'll do very well in this tournament. And if you look at their draw, they should do well. They should get through this with some aplomb.
Yeah.
But they're a good side. You know, the new boy that they bought from John Textor, his old mate Marinakis, looked good.
Igor Jesus, yeah.
He looked good. He looked good. And they looked like a good side, and they put Betis to the sword. So it doesn't surprise me because Nuno Espirito Santo, there wasn't anything broken. The only thing that was broken was his relationship with his owner.
Right.
So the team wasn't broken. So he's a very lucky boy, Postecoglou. He walks into a club in rude health.
Absolutely. You're right about the fixtures that lie ahead for them in Europe. Midtjylland at home, winnable. Of course it is. Porto at home, winnable. Yep. Sturm Graz away, winnable. Malmo at home, Utrecht away, Braga away, Ferencváros, the Hungarians at home. I think you're right, Simon. Every opportunity for Nottingham Forest to go deep, in spite of the fact that Danny Murphy said, no, I can't see it. I think they go deep. I think they even win it.
Yeah, so do I. He was talking about the other teams in the tournament. You didn't seem to be able to name them. They were going to be ultimately the ones that were going to put Forest into jeopardy. It'd be such a game. Are they playing Malmo at home? That will be a game for Forest fans, won't it?
Yeah.
Because obviously that's the team that they beat when they won their first European Cup.
Yes,
so that'll
indeed.
be a trip down amnesia lane. That'll be one for the nostalgic.
Yeah.
But yeah, you look at those games and you think to yourself, well, with due respect to the fact that some of these teams are more experienced. I mean, I was listening to the commentary last night. The last time Forest played in Europe was 95, and the last game they played was they beat Auxerre. And so that's 30 years ago since they've last played. And some of these teams are well versed in playing in Europe.
Yeah.
But so are a lot of Forest's players. They're top quality footballers that have been around a little bit and know their way around. And so they'll be more than capable of harnessing the atmosphere of the City Ground and achieving outcomes that look positive. I mean, you want them to go and beat the next side they've got, however you pronounce that name. I'm not even going to try.
Michelin.
Yeah. And then they're up and away.
Danish.
Porto is not an easy game by any, and neither will Sturm Graz or Waybe. They're not easy games, but they're winnable games.
They're all winnable games.
And,
I agree with you.
And they're certainly not, and they're games that you would not expect necessarily Forest to lose too many of.
And what a great spot by you, Malmo, fourth one in the list there. The team they came up against in the European Cup
1979 final when
Robert Pritz, former Rangers player, played for Malmo that night.
Well, and
65 years of age now.
And obviously my late manager, Trevor Francis, God rest his soul, scored the winning goal from a John Robinson cross.
Yeah.
And then the rest is history, isn't it?
Sammy, what do you think, despite ending his Tottenham spell with a trophy, is Ange still a manager in need of further vindication or validation?
Well, he damages himself by the performance of the team in the league last year. I mean, he comes away with some credentials because when you close your eyes and you forget about the performances of Tottenham Hotspur during the course of the campaign in the Premier League, you ascend upon the argument that he wins things. He goes to Celtic, he does his job, he does what you should do at Celtic, which is win things, and he does.
Yeah.
His background prior to that is sort of less engaging because of the quality of the teams that he's managed. But notwithstanding that, he achieves everywhere he goes. So, yeah, depends what argument you're trying to say. Is he a top six manager? Is he a top elite football club manager? If you're saying in that terms, then he has a lot to prove. If you're saying is he an effective manager that can get outcomes for sides, then I don't think he has much to prove. No.
Right. I mean, we see many would still say, Simon, Ange Postecoglou, the jury's still out on him. Is that harsh?
In the way that I just characterised it.
Right.
If you were to say Ange Postecoglou in the Championship, there'd be no jury on that one, would there? They'd say, yeah, he can manage a Championship side all day.
Sure.
So can he manage in the Premier League? Yeah. Can he manage in a top league? Yeah. Can he manage a top club in a top league? That's where people might say, I'd need to be convinced of that.
You see, when you think of it, 4 years ago this week, and Forest fans don't need me to remind them of this, Forest were bottom of the Championship.
Yep.
You know, from an ownership perspective, are the foundations for success at Forest better than they ever were at Spurs for Ange?
No.
Is he in the... No?
No, not really, because Tottenham Hotspur...
Marinakis will do anything he possibly can.
Marinakis will do, unless there's a change of governance, what they're allowed to do as a club that's aspiring to get into the space that Tottenham Hotspur already are. The difference between Tottenham Hotspur is that they're a bigger football club than Nottingham Forest. They've been in the Premier League for the last quarter of a century, where Nottingham Forest have only been there for 2 years. They have a higher turnover. The only thing that they didn't have was available cash and disposable cash, and potentially, if Daniel was the controlling influence of how cash was deployed and how the turnover to wages ratio was being dictated, then if Daniel's no longer there now, and if we're to believe the Lewis family, there'll be a sea change. So going back to your question, he had a lot of opportunities, Postecoglou. He had a lot of opportunities to do slightly better. He won Spurs a trophy, and so for that he must be applauded. I must say it was a very bland and average tournament where two teams in a final stank it out, because it was a terrible final. It wasn't an indication of the quality of that tournament.
Yeah.
But notwithstanding, you can only beat what's in front of you. So with all that in mind, he had... Look, I think that working for Marinakis, bringing him in, he's put Postecoglou in to win.
Yeah.
So he has to win.
Yeah. So what do you think is a more ambitious ownership just in the passing? The Marinakis ownership at Forest or the Joe Lewis family ownership at Tottenham Hotspur? The more ambitious.
Well, because there was...
Well, time telling the Joe Lewis family ownership.
Well, they've owned it for...
Yeah, but
years.
Yeah, but Daniel's gone now. It's going to be different, isn't it?
Daniel worked with them and for them. That narrative's got to stop, because the Joe Lewis family were well versed. I mean, Daniel might have been a thorn in their side, and one of the reasons that Daniel might have been moved out of the way is because of his objections to PSR. Because he was a leading voice in the Premier League in the Premier League meetings about the maintenance of PSR. I don't think there's a desire from a lot of the clubs now. There'll be a desire from Palace and there'll be a desire from other football clubs, but there ain't no desire from the big clubs to have PSR anymore. They don't want it.
No.
And Newcastle don't want it. Villa don't want it.
You don't want it.
I don't want it because I think it restricts.
Yeah.
And so with that in mind, which is the more ambitious ownership? Well, you've built a platform. You've built a stage, to coin the Jake LaMotta expression, where the bull can rage, because you've got all the platform at Spurs. That requires a level of ambition. Some would say it's a property play. I'm not going to go with that argument, because I think a lot of the money was redeployed back into the team. It perhaps needed a different captain. A different spaceship had a different captain. So Marinakis is an outlier. He's a disruptor. He's not interested in the parameters of it, whether you like him or you don't like it. He wants to do what he wants to do. Now, when he gets to that position, which inch by inch, if they can win the Europa League this year, which I think they can, I really do.
Yeah.
He then lands in the Champions League. he then lands in an increased revenue opportunity. It's then about how he stays there, because we've seen it with Newcastle, we've seen it in Aston Villa. You get into the Champions League, you breathe in, you find yourself having a moderate time in it, and the following season you ain't in it.
Sure. For the second day in the trot, let's ask Forest fans to join us on air this morning. And it's good that it's a present departure from talking about the so-called big elite clubs in the Premier League. So Forest and Ange Postecoglou, winless in his first 4, but from Nuno to Postecoglou. Are you Forest fans out there this morning listening to us in big numbers? Are you now recognising this as a positive evolution? Are the signs there that Ange is going to do it for you at Nottingham Forest? Maybe you want to give us a call on that. 03717 2233 first. Which Forest fan will be the first up to join us? Come on, give us a call. 03717 2233 81089. Later on this morning, we'll talk about the man at the top of FIFA, Gianni Infantino, who received an award in the US last night for making unique contributions to improving the world. Yeah, really. morning, everybody. A lot to get through this morning. I mentioned Gianni Infantino. One or two of you are saying, really? A world-changing leader? Yes, I know. We're going to debate that later on. Of that, there is no doubt. And remember, from midday, we're going to talk boxing with fight pundit Spencer Oliver. Now, not in the immediate future, but certainly before the end of this calendar year, some big fights on the horizon. And with Spencer, with Simon, of course, and then later on live with Frank Warren, we're going to try and bring you more information as to who's going to be fighting who and where. Some more informed information on that. And I think we're all going to be pleasantly surprised at how boxing, Simon, it constantly surprises me, but it's going to finish this calendar year in an explosive way, I think.
Well, I think boxing's in a very good condition. I mean, it can always be in a better condition, but I think it's in the best condition it's been in for some time.
Yeah.
For a variety of reasons. I think Frank Warren's done a fabulous job in opening the doors to the Saudis. It'll have its sting in its tail at some point. But if you look at the quality of fighters, if you look at the engagement, if you look at the amount of broadcasters that are now taking boxing into their staple, whether it's DAZN or Netflix or TNT or, you know, although Sky have sort of taken their toe out a little bit, haven't they? But the fact is that at every level, you've now got the BBC re-engaged with Ben Shalom doing his deal with them, which creates, you know, terrestrial TV having an opportunity to bring up stars and show them in the way that they used to do back in the early 90s and late 80s.
True. I mean, on that front, we'll see where Ben has gone and more appropriately where Ben Whittaker has gone.
Yes.
But we will get to that. We'll get to that. I'm going to talk very shortly about the fourth round draw for the Carabao Cup with Simon. Some interesting ties thrown up there. Before we do that, we're talking Nottingham Forest. 2-2 against Real Betis last night. Back in Europe for the first time in 3 long decades. How far can you go under Ange? Can you win this thing? I say yes, and I'd like that. I really would. Simon is saying very good chance. What do you yourselves think? Despite being winless in his first 4 games, Ange Postecoglou, are Forest fans now recognising him as being part of what is a positive evolution at your club? 03717 223344. Alan, good morning. Congrats, you're first up, and you're our first caller, and you're a big Forest fan. What do you think? What do you see in your team at this moment, Alan?
Particularly that first half last night is the best display of attacking football I've seen from Forest for a very, very long time. I thought we really bossed the game, and a little bit of luck, we could have been 3 or 4-1 up at half time. I think the conditions got to him a bit in the second half, and David Luiz going off didn't help either. But really, really quite pleased. I wasn't an Ange in at all to start with, but you know, just 4 games in, you can already see that change is there, and it's looking quite promising, particularly with the forward thinking players that we've got.
So, Alan, I'm interested in what you just said there. You weren't into Ange really in the first place coming to your club. Is he beginning to win you round?
I think so, straight. Well, I mean, with any club, you get behind the manager, whoever it is. Whether, you know, even with Chris Hughton at the end there, you were behind him because you're only as good as the next game. But yeah, I really think the things that he's doing is quite promising for us. Good to see that we're not going with that suicidal high line they had at Spurs right on the halfway line last night. You know, it was a decent 20 yards back from the halfway line, giving us more opportunity to guide those gaps.
Excellent, Alan. Good call. Thank you very much. Louis is a big Forest fan. Louis, good morning. What do you think, as a Forest fan, what is your expectation in the Europa League now you're in it?
Good morning, guys. Thank you for having me on. So, yeah, obviously, it's absolutely fantastic having Forest in the Europa League. I think it's really great. No one can deny that. But I do think a game of football is 90 minutes. Yes, Forest were great in the first part of that game. But, you know, overall, can we see out results under Ange? I'm not too sure. I think our league form is the most important thing to Forest going forward. If we can go, you know, further into competitions, even win the thing would be fantastic. But really, Forest to be in the Premier League, I think that's the priority.
Yeah. So at the moment, are there signs that this is going to be a positive evolution under Ange?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, I think he's a really good manager. I think the way he wants to play football is really positive. But at the end of the day, it's results driven, isn't it? You know, we all talk about managing expectations. Forest can go fantastic and you know, blow everyone away and then draw the game 2-2. what do you really want? So I think he's got good ideas, but if he goes and implements it, that's a different story.
And I mean, obviously, what you want to see is off the back of that last night, Louis. You want to see a Forest win over Sunderland in the 5:30 kickoff this Saturday, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, a game like that, Louis. Thanks for the call. A game like that, Simon, tells us a lot as to where they're going, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Forest Sunderland on Saturday in the evening.
It does and it doesn't. I mean, Forest have made a reasonably decent start to the season. The only game that they can look at themselves for is the West Ham at home game, which came out of nowhere. And that might well be because they had a disenfranchised manager at the time.
But he needs to win soon. He's winless in his first 4. Once he gets
he does, yeah. But Forest is a team. I mean, he'll be fine, Ange Postecoglou. You know, they've started the season relatively brightly. They're okay. They've started the European campaign relatively brightly. They've made a change because of personalities and maybe because of style of play, but predominantly because of personalities, I suspect. And Ange Postecoglou, I would expect them to beat Sunderland on Saturday. You know, not just because Sunderland are a promoted side who are doing very nicely, thank you very much, but I think Sunderland's strength will be their home games. Sunderland's strength will be their home games in terms of playing in front of that crowd that seems to be really up and behind the side, making it a difficult place to play at.
Yeah.
But Forest, I think, they're a side that's going to transition from what Nuno set them up to be to what Ange Postecoglou wants to set them up to be. But like the previous callers have said, they played well yesterday. For 30, 40, 50 minutes of that game, they looked a very accomplished side. They moved the ball around really well. They opened up Betis at will. You know, I hate the expression passing between the lines. It's just forward balls. You know, they moved the ball around well. And they picked out players well, and they created opportunities and created a bit more clinical and a tad more luck, and they might have been out of sight at half time. It's a good result. The fact that we're winning 2-1 and Betis came back into the game can't be a surprise. Betis aren't mugs.
No, sure.
They're European campaigners. They were at home. They got decent players. They were always going to have some part of the game where they look good.
And you're right about Anthony. He looks half decent, funnily enough, now that he's there and not in the northwest of England. No seeding helped, didn't it, in the third round of the Carabao Cup? And that meant no shocks, didn't it? So the big guns really open up now. The fourth round draw of the Carabao Cup, Arsenal-Brighton. Interesting one. Grimsby Town fight on up against Brentford. Swansea against Manchester City. Wonder if my chum John Williams will go to that. Newcastle United against Tottenham Hotspur. Yeah. I like the sounds of that, Simon. And this. Wrexham against Cardiff.
Yeah, absolutely. An all-Welsh game. Absolutely. Once upon a time, Cardiff were the leading Welsh light, weren't they?
Yeah.
You know, up in the Premier League when Neil Warnock took them up there. In decline now for a period of time. Vincent Tan seemingly disengaged from actually pushing the team any further forward. Yeah. And Wrexham, you know, with the new way that they are operating, bringing in new revenues, you know, having massive sponsors because of the association with the owners, in a good moment. So it's a great game.
The Mark Gahey derby. Liverpool against Crystal Palace. Wolves against Chelsea, and Wycombe Wanderers against Fulham. So the fourth round draw, and some interesting ties thrown up there. I would think the standout, if it's not Liverpool Palace, it's probably Newcastle Tottenham, arguably Arsenal Brighton. Newcastle Tottenham's a cracker.
Well, it would appear to be. I mean, obviously we're going to see what these teams do with their players, and if they rest them, if they play them. But on paper, because of the nature of the two sides, and the fact that they like to play football on the front foot, it's going to be an attacking game, and it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a good advertisement for the cup, which is what the EFL want because it's their cup. I mean, Palace going up to Liverpool. Don't you dare score at Liverpool because obviously you're not allowed to score at Liverpool because you'll get told where your place is.
Yeah,
but that'll be a good game too.
I don't know where the EFL are with this game that has landed them with a bit to think about. Of course, I'm talking about Blackburn against Ipswich.
Yep.
Then the rain came. It didn't get finished. And now it's a case of, what to do? We'll get to that. It's 10:30. Jim White, Simon Jordan. We're live in talkSPORT with Selco, where the trade goes.
could be the start of a special European campaign. That's the sentiment of a UEFA Cup winner with Forest as his old club draws its first game on the continent in 30 years. Elliot Anderson drew more praise, with talkSPORT's Scott Minto even comparing him to Cristiano Ronaldo during the stalemate against Betis. Gary Birtle says he's well impressed too.
You watch him on the pitch and he wants it in every area of the... Not scared to have the ball at his feet.
Celtic also drew away at Red Star Belgrade. Aston Villa versus Bologna is live on talkSPORT tonight from 7. Now, last night was a Premier League clean sweep in the League Cup as Arsenal, Newcastle, Tottenham and Man City all beat lower league opposition. Pep says it was the perfect opportunity for a bit of squad rotation.
I prefer rotate the team, and today was perfect, and for many players being at Oscar played good, Sabio played good, so all of them were aggressive. Without the ball, we were really good.
You can see the fourth round draw at talksport.com. And ahead of the start of the Ryder Cup tomorrow, European captain Luke Donald couldn't help a little dig at the Americans as they're getting paid to play in this year's competition. Donald said his side's fuelled by something money can't buy. Pro golfer Andrew Beef Johnston told talkSPORT this will only add fuel to the fire.
The Americans will not want to lose. They will not want to lose. I mean, you'll see it. There'll be a lot of fight. There's always fight in that American team.
It is Thursday morning, Thursday, September the 25th. And over in the US, it all gets underway tomorrow. The Ryder Cup, of course. Cannot wait for that. European captain Luke Donald says his team are fueled by something money cannot buy, as he cranked up the Ryder Cup intensity with what appeared to be a bit of a dig at their American rivals. I like that. What an atmosphere at the opening ceremony. The whole thing has yet to get underway, and already you can hear the Americans going at it big time in their efforts to get behind their team. They are desperate to win this, but so are Europe. Let's hope Europe do it on their soil over there. How good would that be? How strange was this? Blackburn Rovers, Simon, were 1-0 up against 10-man Ipswich at the weekend before the game was abandoned due to a waterlogged pitch. And it was abandoned on 79 minutes. Now, that was Saturday, and a decision from the EFL board over what actually happens next is now expected by the end of this week. We still haven't got a decision yet. It comes after both clubs had a deadline of 4 o'clock yesterday to make any final representations to the league. The EFL have said, once in receipt of the submissions, the matter will be discussed by the EFL board before the end of this week, with the outcome to be discussed shortly thereafter. So what kind of outcome might it be? I mean, what are the options? Counted as a completed match with the points awarded based on the time of the abandonment. Replayed partially or in its entirety. The Premier League and the EFL boards decide the outcome based on the score at the time of the abandonment, the number of minutes played, and the cause of the abandonment, and whether or not the club or its fans were at fault. So there are one or two things to consider here, but the Blackburn coach, Valerian Ismail, ain't happy with the situation.
got the right to want the 3 point on that situation, because I think that it's the fair things to do, especially when the opponent is down to 10. 11-11 is another situation, but this situation was clear. We were clear in advantage, and the statistic, the data, everything shows that we were on the front foot since the red card. I never agreed to stop the game, so I had no choice, because the referee made clear his point that he has to abandon the game. The pitch was unplayable, and he says sorry, and the EFL will take the decision. So I never had to agree to anything, because the decision was made. So I think it's a clear point to make from our position. We never agreed anything.
So Valerian Ismail, Simon, is alighting upon what in his eyes would be fair. What is fairness in your eyes?
It doesn't require his agreement. It's not his decision to make. There's an irony about this, isn't there? Because there is precedent for this in 1997, which included Blackburn Rovers, because they were beating Wimbledon 2-0 in 1997. After 35 minutes, the game was abandoned for weather, and the game was replayed. So there's a part of me that thinks it's inherently unfair that a side that's winning 1-0 against a team that's down to 10 men, that's likely to be in ascendancy and win the game, is now going to be penalised. But probably the rules need to be tighter and harder and faster, because this is a no-fault. This is a no-fault abandonment. There's no fault from the supporters, no fault from the players, the team, or the club. So in a no-fault abandonment stage, they should be much harder and faster on the rules, and it should simply be, we have to replay it.
We've got to replay it.
Yeah, it's not a completed fixture. I mean, we know that in with due respect to the amount of time that's played in injury time, the amount of goals that are scored in injury time, that there's a distinct possibility that, despite the fact the statistics suggest that at that moment in time, for the argument that Valerian wants to advance, they were in ascendancy. There was no guarantee that the game, you can't be half pregnant. The game isn't finished until it's finished, is it? So with that in mind, I think, without wanting to be disrespectful to Blackburn Rovers and the inherent unfairness they'll feel out of it, you have to maintain some degree of order. You can't have it half-baked. You can't have a situation where a game wasn't completed and a result was determined, because it becomes a dangerous precedent.
What's the point in getting representations from both clubs, though? Because one's going to want that and the other's going to want that.
Well,
why don't the EFL just go, bosh, that's what's happening?
I'll tell you why, because their rules are poor, because their rules should be hard and fast. It should be simply any game that is not completed, however near to the end. I mean, if it's pouring with rain and there's 1 minute to go, the referee's not going to abandon it, is it? So, with the fact there was X amount of minutes to go, the referee's taken a view that the pitch is unplayable, takes them off. So with that in mind, if the EFL or the Premier League or whoever's rules we're talking about, in this instance the EFL, is very clear, there is no ambiguity. Tragically, because otherwise, what can you do? Bring them back, play 11 minutes, bring them back and play a game, or just award somebody an outcome which may not have been theirs to have had.
So you're saying replay it and both sides start on 11 men? Because Ipswich, don't forget, we're down to 10.
I understand that, but to protect the integrity of the framework of the sport, which is completed fixtures, then you probably have to say, in a no-fault abandonment, if there's a pitch invasion from the supporters because they're unhappy with their ownership and it constitutes an abandonment, well, tough luck. Then you've created a situation. If there's another reason, I don't know, a force majeure act of God, which is then ultimately you can't say that the fixture was completed. I mean, you could run the argument statistically, like I was running before this, because I've changed my argument in the last 5 minutes in my own head. There's a me, myself, and Irene moment where I've argued with myself. And I thought, well, maybe if you could put a statistic in place that says if 75% of the match were completed, then the result at the time would stand.
Right.
But my nose tells me that in order to maintain the integrity of the sporting environment, you either replay the game with a handicap to the side that was being handicapped to some extent by the fact they'd already lost a player, and replicate the circumstances.
What's a handicap?
Well, they'd lose a player for a portion of the game. So, for example, when that player was sent off, but then it becomes convoluted.
Exactly.
So then the easiest solution to do is...
Are you lot going to start with 10?
No, I didn't say that.
What?
When was the player sent off? But then again, when you play the game, you might not have the same players available.
You want that player to come off in the replay at that time?
I'm playing devil's advocate for the.
No, I know you are.
The complexity of the conversation, and the complexity of the conversation is very simply avoided by having a hard and fast rule that the clubs accept, which is there'd be no debate. If the clubs understood, I mean, they probably wouldn't even read the bleeding rules and they'd still complain about it.
Right.
But they would have had the opportunity to be, no, these are the rules. This game is being, they'd argue, like rats in a sack if they knew that the game was going to be abandoned and they were going to lose their outcomes as a result of a particular circumstance.
Here's one
but you'd
for
know
you.
where you stood, wouldn't you?
What if they replay it and Ipswich win it. And at the end of the season, Ipswich go up and Blackburn don't. And there's just very few points in between.
45 other games, you know. I understand that argument. But if everyone understands the position of the fact that a game has to be completed, you know, then everybody understands that position and they go into it. He's like, you know, the situations happen in a game. It's like saying the referee makes a bad decision during a game. I remember, you know, years back when Freddie Sears scores a goal for me against Bristol City, hits the back of the net, comes out against the advertising standing, and they give a bleeding goal kick. And it's the way that the world turns, isn't it? And you go, well, how'd you work that one out?
The famous stanchion moment.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned Bristol City because your pal over in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, Turkey Al Sheikh, took to X, Twitter last night. It's not true that I will buy Bristol City Football Club, but we thought he would.
Well, it is.
We thought he might.
I think it's probably not true that he's going to buy Bristol City Football Club now, but it may well be true that he had an interest in looking at Bristol City Football Club. Well, I know that because I talked to him about it with respect. Steve Lansdown has spent an inordinate amount of money. It's one of those football clubs that you can't quite work out why it hasn't been in the Premier League.
Yeah.
It's a town that's crying out for a Premier League football club. It's a town that has road links and rail links that can take you into the capital of the country quite easily. So it's got that opportunity to make foreign investment, if that's what we have to have in every bloody football club, have an appeal towards it. You've obviously got a hotbed of football coming now in Wales with Wrexham making a lot of noise. And, you know, Swansea is still a side of some repute. So there's a variety of reasons why it would be interesting. I think, with all due respect to Steve Lansdown, is a remarkably intelligent and I'm not a great fan of his. We had no great love for one another.
What happened in the boardroom? Did he hit you a cup or something?
No, I threw a cup of coffee at him. And he made this very strange observation on radio once that Simon Jordan is one of those sort of people that only speaks to you when you speak to him. Well, that applies to you then, doesn't it, you idiot? Because if you don't speak to me and I don't speak to you, then we're not speaking to one another, are we?
Fair enough.
But the point is that he's a very wealthy man, owns Hargreaves Lansdown, or a proportion of Hargreaves Lansdown.
Yeah.
The stockbroking business. He owns the rugby club in Bristol, but I think he is ready to be considering taking it. If anyone's got investor fatigue, it probably is Steve.
What about football for Turkey? Is that good? I mean, he's a huge success in boxing.
I don't know. I don't know.
Is football the sport for Turkey?
The idea that this is his money, I think, and whilst he's an incredibly wealthy man, the investment in boxing is a state-supported initiative.
I see. So this would be his own money. Right.
This would be his own investment, and whilst he's got a few billion, the dynamics of football are very different. I've encouraged him to make sure that he takes the right advice, not necessarily from me, but doesn't get everybody around him that leeches onto people.
Like he's done with boxing.
Oh, well, he can revolutionise the future. He can revolutionise the future of Bristol City. I mean, the closest they've been was when
the rules as they are.
Well, he can make some more cash available and he can bring in better opportunities. Well, saying that, I mean, Steve Lansdown is no slouch, but there is no reason in my mind. Bristol City got to the playoff final after beating us in 2008 in the semi-finals. I would have expected this club to have been in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And to me, maybe it needs a new ownership model to give it a bit more energy, which is, again, I'm not trying to make anything derogatory comments about Lansdown, but there was an interest, and there may not be an interest now. I think there is an element of Turkey, with respect, God love him, kicking tyres on this one.
Okay, all right. We'll find out, no doubt. Maybe get to him directly, and we'll see if that interest has indeed gone, or if it was indeed ever there. Just gone 11:15, a lot to get through. Jim White, Simon Jordan, live in talkSPORT. As always, you can watch us on TV, Samsung, LG, you know the rest, Google TV, Prime Video, wherever you watch, we're here. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for all the texts and the tweets and the opinions of many of you, Blackburn fans, Ipswich fans, as to how this decision should eventually be made regarding the possibility of a replay, the possibility of starting the game again on 79 minutes, playing the remaining 11 minutes of normal time in that match. Of course, it was rained off is what I'm referring to. So we will know by probably tomorrow, when Simon and I are suitably nowhere near here, and it will be down to Alex Cook and Sam Matthews.
But there's no perfect. It's an imperfect world, isn't it?
Yeah.
There is no perfect circle. You're not going to get them all to a point. Take them out and measure how much they ran in the game, and then get them all to run before they start the game at the 79th minute. You're not going to get the fans to come to a game for 11, 15 minutes, are you?
No.
It's an imperfect circle. That's why you should have a hard and fast rule that says no fault abandonments are replayed. End of discussion. And then the argument will be, well, why have I got to pay for 2 tickets? Who's going to pay for my travel? Whatever argument you have.
It's not going to suit everybody.
It's not going to suit everybody.
Exactly. FIFA presidents in the past, you know, some of them spring to mind, don't they? João Havelange, remember him, Simon, the Brazilian?
Yes.
Almost 25 years he was FIFA president. Can you imagine that?
Awarding of the World Cup to Argentina in 1978.
Oh, yeah, there was a lot of skullduggery at that time. Sepp Blatter, of course, he was president, I think, for about 17 or 18 long years. The current incumbent is Gianni Infantino.
Yes.
But here's a question for you this morning, Simon. Is he indeed a world-changing leader? Last night, Infantino received an award from the Atlantic Council in New York for making unique contributions to improving the world. Not the world of football. Improving the globe, the world, the planet. The Atlantic Council describes itself as a non-partisan organisation that galvanises US global leadership and engagement in partnership with allies and partners. The chosen honorees winners last night were French President Emmanuel Macron, the Argentinian President, him of the side chops, Javier Milei, and our chum, Gianni Infantino.
What did they get it for then? What did the French president get it for, and what did the Argentinian president?
Good question. I will mull that over while we listen to Infantino, who gave a little speech last night on those unique contributions that he has indeed made to improving the world.
We all know that we live, sadly, in a divided world, in an aggressive world, in a complicated world. And like all of you, I suffer when I see children suffer. I cry when I see mothers crying, whether it's in Gaza, in Ukraine, in Sudan, in Libya, anywhere in the world. There are 80 countries where there are conflicts. And we all suffer when we see what is happening. But like many of you as well, I believe that human beings are fundamentally good and not fundamentally bad. And we have to believe in us. And dear leaders, we believe in you. We need peace in the world. How can we get it? Well, if I knew it, I would have done it a long time ago. I don't know. But the secret, probably, like for anything else in life, is to believe in it and to work for it.
I don't believe in after leaders around the world, do you?
Well, no. That was
sycophantic little twerp.
That was, thank you. That was Gianni Infantino, who now many would say we should look upon as a world-changing leader. Is he?
Well, is the business of sport considered to be influential? If the answer is yes, then you have to suggest that he has a significant part to play in how much influence sport is allowed or is utilised to have. He's the leader of the governing body, the international governing body of sports. I think it's unarguable whether you like him or you don't like him. I think the challenge for us is that FIFA is an opaque, not transparent organisation, that people don't really understand what goes on and why. And we've seen it steeped, mired and neck deep in all manner of corruption and misappropriation of funds and all manner of things over the years. And so the concern is what kind of organisation is he presiding over? And how influential should sport be in the category of the argument about inclusion and unity through sports. Well, you can make those arguments, can't you? You can make those arguments whether you agree with them or not, that the fact that the World Cup has been played in different continents and different regions than it's ever been played before. The Middle Eastern have been brought to the table. You've got the Americans opening up their marketplace again for the World Cup. You've had it played in other parts of the world. You've got an inclusion within the game now where women's football is becoming more and more prevalent, and so it should be. They embrace the issues, whether we like them or we don't, about dealing with LGBTQ issues, which I don't think are football-related issues, but if they want them to be, then he's made them that way. He's a politician, and I think you have to be in a position of that influence.
So you're making an argument for him, really?
I'm making an argument for the reasons why the award might have been given.
Well, the Atlantic
I'm not
Council,
making an argument whether he merits it or not.
The Atlantic Council, who gave out the award, claimed the bold...
Who are they?
The bold Gianni champions global development, inclusion and unity through sport.
Well, again, you can make those arguments, can't you? I mean, I've just made some of them for him. I don't know who they are, the Atlantic Council. Are they a bunch of self-congratulatory technocrats that have a view of the world through a certain prism? I don't know what they are and we've never heard of them, so I can't really judge them as having any merit.
They're a non-partisan organisation.
I don't know what that means. I mean, lots of people would say they're non-partisan and actually find yourself completely partisan. Look, he is in a position where it's not surprising that he's doing the rounds in America, because he is bringing the biggest sports show to America. And there'll be a whole raft of broadcast interest, and you'll have all the noise that whether I don't like to allow it to happen, but it will happen anyway. We've seen people talk about the policies of America being visited on the football stadiums. We had those two professors come on that were arguing about the nature of the immigration and customs enforcement that's going on.
You were arguing with them.
Well, I was having a different point of view to them,
Yeah.
and I was suggesting that you can't possibly base your data upon what you called empirical data upon one game in one tournament. So, of course, it's all going to play into it. And FIFA is and football is a hugely, whether we like it or we don't, we've got nation states buying football clubs. You'll see the Middle Eastern guys working and funding around FIFA. The World Club Championships were funded by the Middle Eastern guys. So, with due respect to them, which, by the way, they're perfectly entitled to do, I'm not suggesting it's right or wrong. I'm saying that the tectonic plates of the world, whether we like it or we don't, geopolitics and sport, and specifically football, which is the biggest sport in the world by a country mile, which is not stopping, it is growing and getting bigger and bolder and more influential in a whole raft of ways, not just economic, is a real issue or a real factor. So he's the leader of the organisation. So the fact he is in with politicians, the fact that we know the genesis of the independent regulator bill in this country, it's not for what the fans think they got it for. It's because politicians think it's an opportunity to be popular and create outcomes. So they're utilising sport for it, and they think that that's a clever thing to do. And so whether we like it or we don't,
do you see Gianni as a world-changing leader? Briefly,
do I see him as a world-changing leader? No, I see him as a hugely influential person in a sport that changes lots of things around the world. So I've rearranged the sentence, turned it into a word salad and given you no answer.
Congratulations, Gianni Infantino, receiving your award last night for making unique contributions, not just contributions, unique ones, to improving the world. We thank him. 11 o'clock.
Ellaby. Good morning. Some breaking news. William Saliba, we understand, has agreed a new long-term contract at Arsenal. No word on how long it is, but Jim and Simon will get into this on the show. That's coming up. Meanwhile, Morgan Gibbs-White says Forest's main aim this season is to win the Europa League. Postecoglou still hasn't won a game after a 2-2 draw at Real Betis. Plenty of positives, though. Igor Jesus scored twice, and Forest legend Gary Birtles was impressed with another all-action display from Elliot Anderson.
Not scared to have the ball at his feet. He's creative. Maybe the one thing that's missing a little bit is goals, but I'm sure that will come.
Meanwhile, in players flourishing after leaving Man United update, the Betis sporting director calls Anthony the best signing in the club's history. Now, ahead of Aston Villa versus Bologna tonight, live on talkSPORT from 7 p.m, Gabby Agbonlahor thinks Unai Emery is fair to call his players lazy, and the Premier League stats back it up.
Interceptions 18th, clearances 19th, tackles 1 18th, aerial duels 1 15th, they've been ranked, duels 1 in general 19th.
Now, Gab says that's nothing that can't be addressed on the training pitch, though. He's backing Villa to get a result later. Zoe Oldcroft captains an unchanged England side in Saturday's Rugby Union World Cup final against Canada. The sellout crowd at Twickenham will set a world record in the women's game. Britain's Chantel Cameron is the new WBC light welterweight world champion. She steps up from interim as Katie Taylor takes an extended break from boxing. And Luke Donald's had a little dig at the Ryder Cup's mercenary Americans, saying Team Europe are playing for something money cannot buy.
We're not just playing to win. We're playing for each other and for every young golfer back home who dreams about one day representing Team Europe. We know it won't be easy. Winning away never is.
Loads more build-up on talkSPORT's Golf YouTube channel.
talkSPORT News.
Ticketmaster has agreed to make a series of changes after an investigation into the sale of Oasis tour tickets. And the Home Office is investigating an Afghan migrant who got UK asylum, then went on holiday to Afghanistan. More from the news team at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Get a free vehicle safety check at all of our 600 centres nationwide to keep you safe on the road. Visit your local centre or quickfit.com and book today.
Another settled day, plenty of sunny spells, but cloudy in the northwest and southeast where the odd light shower is possible.
Good morning, everybody. Just gone 5 minutes past 11 o'clock. It's Jim White and it's Simon Jordan. We are live on talkSPORT. Not just live on talkSPORT, we're live on your TV, Samsung, Fire TV, Chromecast, Google TV, even Prime Video. And so many of you are watching the show. We're a television show as well as a radio show. Primarily, we're on talkSPORT and we're delighted to be so. But you can get us wherever you try to get us. And many of you are doing that. We're thrilled about that between 10 and 1 weekdays on talkSPORT, courtesy of Selco, where the trade goes. Later on, we'll talk boxing. Simon, interesting bit of football news there. And Nick Ellaby had it first. William Saliba has agreed a new long-term deal at Arsenal. And of course, we know what's been going on there. In comes the new sporting director in the summer, Andrea Berti, and apparently, reportedly, he made getting Saliba to commit to the club long term one of his major aims, even this early in his tenure. Saliba, we know, Simon, his old deal expired in the summer of 2027, and he's been in the radar of not just Real Madrid but a whole bunch of them. So a good bit of business for Arsenal, you have to think.
Good player. I mean, it's what they should be doing. They shouldn't be losing their assets that are already in the building. And obviously they're building for success, and he's a very good player. So I'm not surprised that they've managed to achieve that.
Yeah.
And well done to him. I don't know whether they've gone to a 4-year contract.
I'm not sure that, as I say, the original one went to 2027.
Yeah, it's got 2 years to go.
So, yeah, it's got 2 years to go. So you would have to think it's now maybe in the territory of 4, maybe 5, maybe longer. Who knows? Comes after Gabriel was tied down on a longer basis too. Remains to be seen if they can do the same with Saka. But no doubt they will give that every effort. Big name player, Saliba. This fellow was a big name player, of course. Big name in football still. Wayne Rooney. But when we think of Wayne Rooney, is Wayne Rooney now considered a great of our game and a cautionary tale all in the same breath? I've met and known Wayne now for a fair bit. Of course, you said one or two things about Wayne, which you felt quite entitled to say when he was in the field of management, and you didn't think that all that he was doing was particularly admirable. Wayne told me in no uncertain terms he wasn't happy about that. When I met him in London at an awards night that quite recently, he was extremely pleasant about you, pleasant about this show. So Wayne, seeing things for what they are. But speaking on the Rio Ferdinand Presents podcast, Wayne Rooney discussed his struggles with alcohol during his playing career and admitted that if it wasn't for his wife Colleen and her help, then he might not be with us.
I wanted to go out and enjoy my time with friends and, you know, have a night out, and it got to a point where I went too far. I was struggling massively.
With what?
With alcohol. Massively struggling, and I didn't think I could turn to anyone. I didn't want to put that burden on him. I remember...
We talked about this, didn't we?
I remember going into training and putting eye drops in, chewing gum and...
whole bottle of aftershave on.
At the weekend, I'd score 2 goals, go back and go and drink for 2 days straight again.
Who helped you out of that and dealing with that in that time?
Colleen is massive. I honestly believe if she went there, I'd be dead. It's annoying at times, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, and you get annoyed, and but everything she's doing is to keep me here and keep me
to be the best player
on this road and the best person. And yeah, I've made mistakes in the past which are well documented, and she keeps me on that path, and she's done it for 20 odd years.
I mean, he's opening up there, Simon, and giving us an idea of how desperate the struggle clearly became for him.
Yeah, I mean, we want authenticity from people. I'm always of the belief, maybe I'm wrong, in this day and age that we live, that never tell people things that they don't need to know. So he must have his reasons for saying these things and telling people this story, and whether it's because he wants to affect a change in the way that young players are seen and looked after. Because whether I think that young players and the privileges of the industry create such wonderful opportunities for them, they should get on with them. There is also the flip side of that it is a unique space to be in when you're a young man and you're given huge amounts of opportunity, huge amounts of fame, and it comes with a price tag, which is often that, life, you expect more from life, you're not happy with what you've got, and you look for escapes from some of what you consider to be pressure or responsibilities or just the life that you lead. And if you find it's fascinating that sportsmen in this day and age can function, because he was such a good player. I mean, it might explain the reasons why his career ended prematurely, in my view, because he should have been able to play longer in his career, because you've seen other athletes. I know his body composition is different to that of Ronaldo and Messi, and maybe boozing probably helped create a body composition that didn't have longevity.
There's another argument that it's maybe amazing that he lasted as long as he did as a player.
Yeah, that's a shame, isn't it? Because he was such a talented footballer. And there's no doubt, if you've gotten to be Man United's top scorer and you've achieved the things that he's achieved from such a young age, that he was a remarkable footballer. My only criticism of Wayne Rooney, and I don't think it's an unfair criticism, was his capabilities as a manager. And I think at times he carried the attitude of a player into one being that of a manager. These are well documented, well rehearsed, and we don't need to repeat them. And whether we regard Wayne Rooney as somebody that achieved all his potential or a cautionary tale, I think it'd be mean-spirited to review him as a cautionary tale. In what way would he be a cautionary tale? He played a huge amount of games for England. He played for the biggest club in the world at the time, in my view, with wonderful achievements attached to it. He became the highest goal scorer in international football and also in domestic football for Manchester United. I think that's right for international football. I might be wrong on that one, but I think I'm right.
But there's also a sad side to all of this now.
But that's the casualty of life.
That's become apparent from what he's told Ferdinand.
But he's okay now. And he's been through all of us in our lives. whether we're in a high-profile people or we're low-profile people, are going to have challenges in our lives. The position that Wayne finds himself in is he had more affordability to be able to live his life in a certain way. He had greater responsibilities. He had a partner. He had children, and perhaps football should engender in these people a more mature attitude towards approaching their obligations and responsibilities and the benefits of their privileges, because their privileges shouldn't be a millstone around their neck. Their privileges should be an opportunity to enhance their lives and play a sport that they profess to love and receive the benefits of it.
I mean, you employed a bunch of fellas to be managers in your time at Crystal Palace. One wonders, where will Wayne go now? I mean, he's obviously sought after as a media pundit, but is he employable as a manager? Is he eminently employable anytime soon? He spoke about management to Ferdinand.
I was at Derby, and then I went in as manager, and then we're in administration. And then I went out to the US and managed DC United. I finished bottom of 3 seasons before I went in. And then we missed out on playoffs by a point. And then when I left, we went back to the bottom. And people don't talk about that. Then I went to Birmingham, which was an absolute car crash from day one, to be honest. They weren't a good fit. And then obviously I went into Plymouth. And some of the football we played at Plymouth was unbelievable. Because every training session we give them, it was consistent, it was the right messages. Training session was really good. And then I was shocked in some of the games.
So I was Wayne talking about his experience thus far in management. I think I know what's coming here. And as I say, Wayne is happy to speak, probably happy to speak to you if he encountered you, and was certainly so with me more recently. But you have been critical of him in the past when he tried to apply his trade in management.
I don't see how he missed the playoffs in DC United by a point. I'm looking at their achievements over the years. They never got anywhere near the playoffs. In the season that he was there, they finished 12th. I don't know where that comes from. I mean, look, he is a victim of his own success, because with the Wayne Rooneys of the world comes a level of expectation and also a level of opportunity. You'll hear people complain, and you've heard people complain, why are these guys that are coming out of football, Lampard and Gerrard and Rooney, that have got no management credentials, taking good jobs? Because they are who they are. So the flip side of that means they put themselves on offer from the get-go. There's nothing about Wayne Rooney's managerial career that tells me he can manage. With due respect to the fact he was a wonderful footballer, as a manager, I wouldn't touch him with yours and someone else pushing. The fact of the matter is that I look at it and work out what he's done as a manager and say, well, what have you done? The Plymouth, the Derby situation, well, where's Liam Messina? Liam Messina's gone on from Derby, who was his coach, and a lot of people would say was the intellectual capital behind Derby avoiding getting relegated in the last game of the season, in administration, has gone on to manage Hull relatively successfully and doing quite well in Strasbourg. Thank you very much. Wayne has been thrown into difficult opportunities. Very rarely do you get thrown into Nottingham Forest or a club that's not broken. You most of the time get put into situations that are for a challenge. The Birmingham situation, he says it himself, and he describes it as someone calling him a rude name when he came into a football stadium. Well, so what? That's what happens. Yeah. And the Plymouth situation, well, it was laughable. I mean, with the respect, it was laughable what their chairman said. It was contemptible to come on this show and say that someone's credentials do not factor in to the outcomes of making them a manager. It's not relevant because every situation is unique. Great, every situation is unique. Every one that you've been in, you've failed. So there's a common denominator in that. And here you are, 4 months later, removing the guy from the job because they played great in certain games and they did play against certain teams. And where did Plymouth end up? Yeah. They end up relegated. Where did Birmingham end up? They end up relegated.
One thing I would say, Simon, is maybe Wayne has done the most constructive thing he's done in a long time of late in the company of Rio Ferdinand, and talk about his battles with alcohol.
To what end?
To what end? Because people listen. I'm 14 years sober on the 28th of October myself. But you didn't do. I eagerly look forward to it,
and I accept that, and I understand the reasons why you attach such value to it, both personally and broadcasting wise. Yeah. But what's Wayne doing it for? Is he doing it because he's wanting people to have a certain view of him? Is he doing it because he's championing the difficulties and wants to influence people to have a positive outcome, which is why you talk about it? Or is he just talking about it with Rio Ferdinand? Because I don't think Rio Ferdinand should be his rabbi. I don't understand why you would need to have that conversation.
I think there's a bit of context in it as well. Let's hear from David, who's a United fan, Manchester United fan, who's been listening to those little segments of audio we've been playing from Rooney. David, good morning. What do you want to say on this?
Good morning, Jen. Thanks for being on the show. I just wanted to say that I listened to the actual whole interview last night before I went to bed, purely for the fact that Wayne Rooney, as I said to your producer, for me, I was born in 91, so Wayne Rooney, it was typically, growing up in my generation, for me, personally, obviously I'm a United fan as well, but he was one of my idols growing up. Watching Wayne Rooney, the way he played, the way he applied himself on the pitch, his aggression, his character, his goal scoring, his work rate, his team efforts, willingness to help the team. He'll play anywhere for that team. I was really fascinated to tune in. I actually couldn't wait to get home yesterday and watch that interview. And I found it extremely eye-opening, some of the things that he said. And I don't think you guys are talking about why he did that. I don't think there's a particular reason as to why he did it.
What did you find eye-opening? What was it that you found eye-opening then?
Some of the fears and some of the insecurities that he said he had, you couldn't really saw them looking at him playing on the field back then. And obviously some of the insecurities that he mentioned, and some of the fear that he had in some of the games, and going over to Manchester from Liverpool, which you can kind of understand now. But I just wanted to say that I just personally think that he's one of the greatest British players of all time. Honestly, guys, I've seen Ronaldo's, Ronaldinho's, Zidane's, all sorts of unbelievable players at Old Trafford. Wayne Rooney is right up there with the very, very best of all of them.
Yeah, and I accept that, and I would agree with that. Is he deserving of another stint in management, David?
When it comes to management, I think it's a slightly different ball game. To be a manager, I think it requires different type of character. It requires different types of technique and a different type of know-how with people and players, and being able to pass that message on. I don't know if that's Wayne's biggest strength. I think his knowledge and his understanding and breakdown of the game is there. I just don't know whether he's able to translate that over to his players and to how he wants.
Fair enough. David, listen, good call, and thank you for the points you've made, and thanks for joining us. Nonetheless, Wayne Rooney certainly being honest and certainly getting to the point when he opened up to Rio Ferdinand on Rio's podcast. And thank you for the calls that are coming in and the comments that are coming in too. Maybe get through one or two of them after this. Many of you getting in touch. Thank you very much indeed for doing so. 81089. We listened to Wayne Rooney in discussion with Rio Ferdinand. In amongst that was a bit of a detailed account from Wayne about his struggles with alcohol when he actually played the game, when he played for Manchester United, and where he's going now after one or two unsuccessful forays into the world of management. A lot of you responding to that. No name in this one. One word that Wayne doesn't seem to know is accountability. You have to be accountable for what you do, not only in your work, but in your life. Those are the bare cold facts.
How do they know he's not accountable?
Well, exactly. This is one for you, Simon. This was a kid taken straight out of an estate in Liverpool. That life can follow you, unfortunately, and has done.
I mean, it's like saying, you take the boy out, for me, take the boy out of Croydon, but you can never take Croydon out of the boy. There is an element of that. You are shaped by your experiences in life, but he had enough of a background to produce this phenomenal footballer that had the disciplines and character to become a footballer, because it takes a lot to become a footballer. It's not easy to become one, and with such talent. But you're the temptations of life and the temptations of circumstances around great wealth, great fame, adoration, sometimes an industry that doesn't place it in the right way and doesn't seed character and disciplines into people. But you can't listen. He had a go at management. My criticism of him is that I don't think he's a manager. I don't know Wayne. I'm not bothered whether I do or don't know him. I admired him as a footballer. And my criticism is not personal. My criticism are about him as a manager. No. And to be fair to him, he had a go at it. And he had a right to have a go at it, and people gave him an opportunity, and I don't think there'll be too many more.
No, I agree.
Maybe there will.
And when I spoke to him in a hotel not far from here in London, he virtually was saying exactly that about what you had said. In the meantime, it's time for this.
Business Briefing on talkSPORT with Tesco Mobile for Business. Got a side hustle as a Pilates instructor? Stretch your budget with business phone bills for up to 40% less than the big three networks. For verification, see tescomobile.com/business.
We're going to go on.
What fresh hell awaits me now?
Yes, exactly. We'll fly through this, but I'm interested to get your take on it because, again, this is an area where the sportsmen involved, sportsmen and women, to me, seem to earn plenty. I don't know what the listeners or the viewers will think. This is one of the top business stories with Tesco Mobile for Business, and it's in the world of tennis. Jack Draper, of course, the great UK hope in the world of tennis, the great British hope, has added his backing for calls for more prize money at the 4 Grand Slam tournaments, with players becoming reportedly frustrated regarding the pace of discussions on this topic with tournament organisers. In April, the top 10 on both the men's and women's tours co-signed a letter demanding a greater share of the revenue at Wimbledon, at the Australian Open, the French Open and the US Open. I mean, they want to be at the table and they want more money. Is this fair?
Yeah, to some extent, I understand their argument. To another extent, I don't, because if you look at Wimbledon and see what it generates, the All England Tennis and Croquet Club that ultimately was responsible for the running of Wimbledon and the revenue that it generates, it pays out 50-odd million quid in
prize money.
And prize money to the players, which they turn around and say is X amount of percentage of the turnover. Yeah, but the turnover is irrelevant. It's about what the bottom line is, right? So take the turnover off. That's like saying, driving for show and putting for dough. The fact of the matter is that you've got a certain amount of profit left in the business. This is an event that fundamentally funds grassroots of tennis. So the redirection of funds from the All England Tennis Club into other aspects of tennis in this country, because it doesn't get a lot of funding from the government.
So where do you stand on this then? So you're right with the figures. At Wimbledon 2024, the prize money of 50 million quid.
Yeah.
From a total revenue of 406 million.
Yeah, that's not...
The players are saying, no, we want to reach a figure closer to 22%. It's 13% at the moment.
Good for them. What they need to look at is not the revenue generation. They need to look at the available funds as a result of the profit in this situation. And the profits, I understand, the post-transactional profits that after they've dealt with their funding obligations to the LTA, dealt with the running of the tournament, is something like about 50 million quid. And that gets distributed to the LTA. So where would you take this money from then? So you're going to take it away from the very space that helped create you in the first place, which is grassroots tennis. So if there was this enormous cash surplus that was ultimately available to the players, that where they weren't getting, and it wasn't being redeployed somewhere else besides in the hands of shareholders and fat cats that are sitting there, and there might be an element of that going on inside the construct of the All England Tennis Club.
Yeah.
But the actual available monies are not as huge as you would think them to be. Now, I don't know why. I have to say, I tried to understand why 400 million turnover seems to only leave a surplus of 50 million quid. So where's the other 350 million quid going?
Yeah, exactly.
50 million of it is obviously going to the players.
Yeah.
There's a whole raft of other things that go on. There's obviously a lot of money being spent on the expansion of Wimbledon. 60, 70 million quid was spent on that. There's historic debts that go back some time.
Right.
So the actual issue is how much free cash is there available, and should the players be getting it, or should the very thing that develop? Because don't forget where you came from, ladies and gentlemen. You came from grassroots, and grassroots in this country does not have enough funding because the government doesn't provide any funding or a significant amount. So what are you going to do? You're going to take it away from the development opportunity of young kids to come through and put it into your pockets.
I get that, but I suppose the Grand Slam events, and the players know this, would be nothing without the big names.
And there'd be nothing without the Grand Slams.
Well, this is true. And the US Open, interestingly, put up the largest prize money pot in Grand Slam history recently, £67.3 million.
Good for them.
That's a 39% increase on last year. I think the fact of the matter is this, the man in the street will have no sympathy with the tennis players.
And how do they run their organisation?
First round losers at Wimbledon get 66 grand. To go out at the first round.
Yeah, but how many is that? What, 64 players? There's only 64 players in the world of tennis, or is it 128? I can't remember. I think it's 64.
Yeah, but the money's gone up. If you were a first round loser in 2011, you get 11 grand. Now you get 66.
Sure, I understand that. So the argument is made there for us, and also you can make the argument that most of these tennis players are they're not employees of the ATP. They're not employees of the LTA. They're self-employed people that take the benefits, I suspect, of actually tax efficiencies. Most of the top players will domicile their tax affairs in countries they don't have to pay tax in.
Yeah.
So pack it in for a start. Second of all, that's their choice. So let's not, forget that. Second of all, most of the tennis players are freelance and contractors, so they'll put their money through SPVs that will take their wages out in dividends, so they'll pay less tax than the average person in the street. So all of these things are part and parcel of the benefits of being tennis. And by the way, if you choose a vocation that you love and you make the best at it, then you ain't going to get paid the most money. And so with due respect about what should and shouldn't happen, if the greed is in these tournaments and the distribution... And no, I don't know how the US Open models its money. I don't know whether the US government gives an enormous amount of money into the seeding of sports in its country so that actually the US Open can afford to give away more of its revenue.
The fact of the matter is...
The English, we don't in this country. We don't fund tennis the way we should. Hence the reasons why we very rarely produce top tennis players. We haven't got the facilities.
Tennis players are at the table talking to the tennis authorities about...
No, they're not. They're doing the same thing as all athletes want to do.
They've been in discussion with them for a month.
Well, there's no need for football players. Let's get this one clear. Is there any need for football players to be at the table to talk about money then, given the fact they've bleeding well got all of it? I mean, let's have it right, whilst we have this moment to share. They're taking all of the money off the table, so they don't need to be there for that. They need to be there waving Martin Keown's flag, which is we're hard done by, and we need a big arrest. That's what they want to be there for. That's it.
That was a roundup of one of the top business stories in the world of sport with Tesco Mobile for Business.
Business Briefing on talkSPORT with Tesco Mobile for Business. Got a side hustle as a Pilates instructor? Stretch your budget with business phone bills for up to 40% less than the big three networks. For verification, see tescomobile.com/business.
Minto even comparing him to Cristiano Ronaldo during the stalemate against Betis. Gary Birtle says he's well impressed too.
You watch him on the pitch and he wants it in every area of the... Not scared to have the ball at his feet.
Celtic also drew away at Red Star Belgrade. Aston Villa versus Bologna is live on talkSPORT tonight from 7. Now, last night was a Premier League clean sweep in the League Cup as Arsenal, Newcastle, Tottenham and Man City all beat lower league opposition. Pep says it was the perfect opportunity for a bit of squad rotation.
I prefer rotate the team, and today was perfect, and for many players being had, Oscar played good, Sabio played good, so all of them were aggressive. Without the ball, we were really good.
You can see the fourth round draw at talksport.com. And ahead of the start of the Ryder Cup tomorrow, European captain Luke Donald couldn't help a little dig at the Americans as they're getting paid to play in this year's competition. Donald said his side's fuelled by something money can't buy. Pro golfer Andrew Beef Johnston told talkSPORT this will only add fuel to the fire.
The Americans will not want to lose. They will not want to lose. I mean, you'll see it. There'll be a lot of fight. There's always fight in that American team.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Get ready for the golden era of sports betting. Visit betmgm.co.uk or download the app. 18+gambleaware.org.
It's that time, just gone at 11:30 this Thursday morning. Jim White and Simon Jordan live on talkSPORT. Thanks for all the messages coming in. 81089, loving that. Sean Martin from BetMGM joins us as we discuss some of the top sporting events, and there are many of those, and the odds round and about them. Your beloved Celtic, Mr. Martin, good morning to you. What did you make of that 1-1 draw in the Europa League last night at Red Star Belgrade?
Morning, lads. Trust you spent your birthday taking in Celtic versus Red Star alongside that pizza, Simon. Must
trust what you bloody well want.
Must admit, I said to Charlie yesterday, I wasn't expecting a win. In fact, I thought we'd probably lose over there, given Red Star's home record and our European away record. In the end, happy with the point, Jim. Over 5.5 to 1 for the 1-1 correct score it was. And although the first half wasn't great at all, really, there were definite glimpses of a proper football team at times in the second. Kelechi Iheanacho, very good, finding his feet. Young Colby Donovan, though, got to give him a shout, just turned 19 a couple of weeks ago, into the team because of injuries, and he's looked really impressive so far, including last night. Jim, have you managed to catch any of his minutes yet, or heard much about him? He's a young Scottish defender, could always do with more of those.
I have not, but I will now. And Sean, it's good. It's always good to do that. Of course, it has to be said, this wasn't the same Red Star Belgrade from years ago, Simon, that boasted the likes of Robert Przonecki and people like that. Yeah. I thought Celtic I thought they might struggle over there, Sean maybe suggested, but coming away with the points, a good result. Absolutely. You're right, Sean, it's a decent result. And then your other love in Glasgow, Rangers, go in tonight. Of course, by God, does Russell Martin need a win, or does Russell Martin need a win against Genk? And Aston Villa are in action as well in Europe tonight. Villa's live on talkSPORT. So what are you thinking there then, Sean?
Yep, same as last night. We've got an English team and a Scottish team in action at 8 p.m, but both at home this time. Aston Villa, start with them, host Bologna, a team they beat 2-0, Jim, in the Champions League last season. Villa obviously not started well at all, but Unai Emery does love the Europa. He's made the final the last 5 times he's had a full campaign in the competition, and the Villains start this one at 3-4 favourites. The draw is at 5-2 and Bologna 18-5. And of course, Jim, the game also notable for potentially pitting John McGinn against Lewis Ferguson in midfield. That'll be a right good battle if so. And up at Ibrox, as you say, Russell Martin definitely needing a win. Rangers versus Genk. Two sides very much out of form. Just 1 win apiece in their last 10 combined. Both in their respective relegation or relegation playoff zones as well. So potentially a chance there for them, really. Not too much between them in the betting. Rangers 7-5 favourites, Genk 7-4, and the draw 5-2. If you combine Villa and Rangers to win tonight, it's a kind of British double. It's 16-5, though I'm more inclined maybe to go both teams to score in both matches, as it landed last night for the Forest and Celtic games, and that's around about 15-8, so just under 2-1, guys.
Simon, what do you think? You and I, Sean, thanks for that. Coming back to you in a second, you and I have spoken quite a lot in recent days about what Russell Martin is up against, where he finds himself at this moment. In a 16 league in Belgium, Genk at the moment are 14th. So you would have to think, right, no excuses. Go out there and win it.
It's set up for more indignation, isn't it? He has to go and win games, isn't he? There's no other way. It's like stating the bleeding obvious. He has to go and win games. And as the fellow the other day that came on, was it David Edgar?
Yes.
Came on, talked about.
Yeah.
It is a situation surrounding Russell now
from fan media
where it's so seeded in the mind of a significant, seemingly selection of Rangers fans that if he wins 5 games in a row and loses 6, they'll be on him for the 6th. So I don't know how Russell changes it. It's a white-knuckle ride for him. He's got to win games. The owners, if they believe in him, have got to double down in their belief for the reasons that they have, and not because they're entranced in a position that they can't reverse out of. Either Russell's going to punch his way through this or he's not.
Yeah.
And that starts by beating Genk. There's no other alternative for it. Whatever, you sort of close your eyes and look at the result later on in the evening, which I will do, and go, oh, God, which is the fear that you have for someone, because you know what he's going to get.
Well, exactly, precisely. Aston Villa could do with a win in this one as well, though, couldn't they? At this particular time, you would say, Sean.
Yeah, as I say, the fact that it's Unai Emery and it's the Europa League makes it just that wee bit more likely. I think it's also at home. They've been struggling scoring, but nonetheless, I think they're favourites for the competition for a reason. They will click at some point. You would think Unai Emery's too good a manager for that not to be the case. And yeah, I totally agree with where you're coming from on the Rangers thing as well. Like, as much as we like to make a song and dance about it sometimes, obviously I've got quite a lot of Rangers supporting pals. Some of them are season ticket holders. Far be it from me to opine on Ibrox matters too much. They do look a team devoid of belief in their own abilities and in the manager's message at the moment. It's difficult, as Simon says, it's difficult to come back from that, both in the stands and on the pitch.
Did you say Villa go in as favourites tonight, Sean? Is that because of Unai Emery's pedigree in this?
Favourites for the tournament.
Favourite for the tournaments as well.
Favourites for the tournament
as well. Yeah, so favourites tonight at 3-4 and 6-1 favourites to lift the trophy entirely.
And based on what? Favourites to win the whole thing based on what? On Emery?
I imagine a mix of Premier League teams generally being the strongest teams in this competition. Spurs won it last year, of course. And Unai Emery's individual record, I would think. 6-1, and then Roma 9-1, Bologna, who they play actually tonight, 10-1.
You better bring some of your best material to air right now, because I understand that, Sean, you want to engage with Simon in the world of boxing.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Simon a question, basically. So I'm going to have a wee look at the Eubank Junior Ben odds, but first of all, I was listening to Top Boxing yesterday, Simon. How did you find Bomac, is what I want to ask you. Interesting character.
Oh, he is a wealth of knowledge. Very quietly spoken. And you had to get into him a little bit, but then once he, was in a not so much indiscreet mode, but in an environment where he felt that he could express himself, he was so informative. He talks about things in such an educated way. Interesting stuff was how easy they thought the Alvarez fight was. How easy they really felt it was.
Yeah.
And just to, he talks about Chris Eubank. He thinks he's a fabulous operator. Looking forward to working with his father. He's a top class trainer.
Yeah.
He's a top class trainer.
Mate, you like him?
He's a very likeable fella.
Yeah. He didn't like you.
He can join the long list of people.
On you go then, Sean.
I remember sitting listening to Bomac before the Burns Crawford fight and thinking he was actually the opposite. He was quite overconfident, quite borderline arrogant almost.
He's very confident. Don't mistake his quietness for lack of confidence.
Yeah, Crawford at the time was quite calm and quiet, and I don't know, on Top Boxing he seems like he's almost mellowed a wee bit, if that was ever the case, but maybe because at that time Crawford was up and coming, not a world champion yet and all that, and now he's been getting his flowers for years type of thing. But yeah, it's a belter of a guest. I thought it was interesting.
He was fabulous. I mean, obviously Spencer put his feet to sleep, and that was perhaps some of the reasons why he started slow. But yeah, he was a great guest. He was a great guest.
You said that because, ladies and gentlemen, Spencer Oliver's through the glass, staring right at us, but laughing as Spencer always does. He takes your cruel jibes extremely well. So finish. Do you want to move on from boxing at this stage, Sean?
Sorry, I indulged myself there by going back there. Yeah, obviously Bomac, as you say, in Eubank Jr.'s corner again, as he was for the Liam Smith rematch a couple of years ago. That ended in a stoppage win for Eubank, which is 15-8 to happen against Ben. It's also 15-8, so the exact same odds for a Eubank decision like the first fight. Overall, 13-25, a Eubank win, 18-1, a draw, and Ben 31-20. So not massively different in terms of odds from before the first fight. And I know where you both stand on the bout as an event, maybe opposite views on it. But suppose the more interesting part for me after the fight is twofold, Simon. And we were discussing this morning, it's does Eubank retire, win or lose? And if it's a fan-pleasing tear-up again, does Ben finally try to use some of that renewed interest to get like a welterweight title shot, maybe win or lose Crocker, Mario Barrios, that kind of thing?
Where does he go? The idea that he can go back down to 147, he might find himself difficult at the weights. There's a huge opportunity down there. He could fight Lewis Crocker for an IBF world title, which Lewis would generate some huge interest from, some huge fight. He was fabulous.
Yeah.
And then you look at, Bomac was talking about Chris Eubank Jr. If he deals with Conor Benn, which he fully expects him to do, better, stronger and easier this time round, he must be given a world title shot. That's what he thinks.
Now, Sean,
at 160.
You have to think that Simon's getting very excited about the Women's Rugby World Cup final, Saturday 4:00, because it's Canada against England.
I most certainly am.
Yes. What can you offer us this morning on that one, Sean?
Just very quickly, as you say, record 80,000 crowd expected at Twickenham for Canada versus England. It's the world number 2 side against the world number 1. Both scored 40 or more points in every pool stage game and the quarterfinals. Over 2-1 though for Canada. They're around about 21-10 just now. England heavy favourites at 4-11. Both those prices inclusive of any overtime that's required. And potentially an alternative market to look at is England to win both halves as they have done in every match so far, Jim, which is 29-20, guys.
Sean, thorough as always. Thank you very much indeed. You're going to be in front of that. That was a look at the latest odds thanks to BetMGM. Visit betmgm.co.uk or download the app. 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Keep things golden with responsible play at betmgm.co.uk. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
We understand that it's going to be a big challenge, but I'm very excited about my team, the form we have coming into this.
Please make some noise for the winners of the 2023 Ryder Cup, led on by their captain, Luke Donald. It's Team Europe!
You can go wherever you want with all the detail. The bottom line is, can the players perform in a hostile environment?
And Europe has pulled off the improbable.
Making the team is not the trophy. You know, it's not a participation award. It's a nice thing to say you've done, but really, when you represent your team, you want to be able to win the thing.
I catch myself every now and then looking down the fairway, seeing the guys walk down the fairway and think how badly I'd want to do that. But I feel like I've been called for a bigger cause here.
If you have those experiences that you remember for the rest of your life, that's worth more than a couple $100,000 in the back of your pocket.
Oh, love that final comment there from Luke Donald, did we not? The Ryder Cup is almost upon us. It's over in New York this time, so Europe have got to go there and try and win the thing. Europe enter as defending champions after a brilliant 16.5, 11.5 win in Rome. Can they win it in the US of A, though? That is the big question. Alongside Simon and myself, not alongside us, joining us from New York is senior writer for Golf Digest, Alex Myers. Alex, good morning to you. How are you?
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Great to have you join us, Alex. Thank you so much. How's the build-up to this thing been for you?
It's the most hyped up event in golf history. I mean, there's no question about it. It's kind of crazy. This event was announced 12 years ago. And, obviously there was the 1 year delay because of COVID. But, once it was announced, Bethpage, New York, Ryder Cup, as we all know, has gotten to be so big. I think everybody's been waiting for this more than any other event that I can recall. It's kind of crazy.
Alex, it seems to me that home advantage counts for a lot. And on this occasion, sadly, as a European, as a Brit, as a Scot, it might count again. Team USA have only lost 4 times at home in the 98-year history of this thing. So history favours you lot, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, without a doubt. But, it goes both ways, right? I mean, the home team has become very dominant in this event. For whatever reason, whoever is hosting performs incredibly well in the foursomes format. That used to be the Achilles heel for the U.S., but now that's not even true anymore. For whatever reason, the home teams do such a great job in that format. They get off to a nice start. Keegan Bradley has made that the first session for both of the first 2 days. And so I think he's hoping that trend continues and the U.S. jumps out to a quick start.
Simon will come in a second, but let me put this to you, Alex. Has the US audience over there bought into the fact that the Americans are going to get paid, whereas the Europeans are saying, no, participation is everything for us. We don't need any money.
It's kind of funny. I don't think most golf fans realize that that's the case. And, that's become a bit of a story, which I understand. But as almost all the U.S. guys have said, they're actually going to donate that money anyway. They all receive money towards charitable donations. They have for a long time. This was just a little for them, extra on top that they're going to take and donate as well. So players like this who play for that much money, I hate to say it, but $200,000 isn't even that much to them. So I don't think that's going to be much of a factor at all. But I did appreciate Luke Donald getting that little jab in there. It was a nice job by him.
Given the statistics that we know, that we just rehearsed, which is that the home team seems to dominate the outcomes, is it really imperative for Europe to have any chance whatsoever to get off to a fast start? Because if they don't, then the die will be cast, the crowd will become up, and the dynamics will be very, very difficult for Europe to find a foothold if they haven't got a fast start. And do you think there's a possibility that they can get a fast start?
Yeah, I think that's fair. Although you look, the stats also show that for whatever reason, Europe has had incredible success in that second session, those first couple of days, and they've been able to bounce back when they do fall behind. And the other times they've been able to get ahead. So no, but that's a great point. That the crowd is going to be crazy. If the U.S. gets a lead, they're going to smell blood, for lack of a better term. They're going to get even more hyped on that. And it is going to be tough. I mean, like we said, the home team has had an incredible advantage at this event, especially in recent years. And Bethpage Black is going to be probably the most raucous home crowd that the event's ever seen. So it's going to be pretty wild. I mean, I saw them getting into it during the celebrity match yesterday. So it's and they'll go after anyone. They went after even a former New York Giant, great player, Michael Strahan. I heard people jeering him when he missed a putt. So they're going to get on anyone if they're going to even get on one of their own.
How's the Trump factor going to play in? I mean, Trump's going to be there. And New York is a state that doesn't necessarily appreciate Trump in the same way that other states appreciate him. How's the Trump factor going to play into the narrative?
Yeah, well, it's going to make me and a lot of other people get up extra early to get there for security. I know that. I've been told people should try to get to the course at around 5 o'clock in the morning, especially if they want to get there for that first tee time.
Lovely.
For that first tee shot. So even though he's not coming till later in the game, so he's definitely causing a bit of a disruption. It's going to be interesting on the reception. It's definitely going to be mixed at best. The governor of New York got a chorus of boos yesterday, and she's a Democrat. So it's gonna be interesting. New York, of course, is not a big Trump state, but this area of Long Island is a little more with Trump. And you have a lot of the finance guys who are going to be there. So I think it will be kind of mixed. But no matter what, he's going to cause quite a disruption. And again, if you're going tomorrow, get there really early. Whatever you think is early, get there even earlier.
Here's the thing then, Alex. Let's finish it with this. Here we are, Friday. We're coming up to lunch. Thursday, we're coming up to lunchtime. It all gets off and running tomorrow. Give us your prediction. What does your heart say? What does your head say? Who's going to win this thing?
I just got to go with the stats here and say that the home team is going to win again. I think the teams are very equal. I think the U.S. actually has probably a little more depth, but then it's really going to be that home course advantage. The captain gets to set it up the way the team wants it, and the crowd is going to be going crazy. And those headsets that Luke Donald gave the team to prepare, I don't think anything is going to prepare them quite for this crowd, which they know. So I think U.S. wins. I don't think it's a blow up, but I do think U.S. wins and keeps that home team advantage going.
See, Alex, until that final answer there, we liked you and we were liking you a lot. But listen, you've been honest and you've been straight with us. Thanks for painting the picture, mate. It's going to be terrific, and we look forward to watch for Big Bob McIntyre. Watch him, fellow Scot. He's going to go out there. Alex Myers, thank you so much, senior writer for Golf Digest. I'm beginning to get in the grip of this thing now, Simon. Are you not? I mean, it's going to be something else.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, if Europe can make it competitive early doors and not allow the Americans to get away, then the jeopardy will build.
Yeah,
and then what you want is it building over the weekend to the culmination. That's where you want it to be. You don't want it to be an express train with the Americans getting their heads up, the fans getting their tails up, and Europe wilting underneath it.
Yeah,
I don't think that'll be the case. I think we'll give them a run for their money.
But it's not just England in this instance.
I said Europe. I said Europe.
So do you really care?
I spat it out and said Europe.
All right. Okay, you're going with Europe. I'm definitely going with Europe. Go on, Europe. Go out there, Luke Donald and the rest of them, and stick it to the Americans, Trump and all. 12 noon.
talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van Range. Commercial vehicles that go the distance for your business. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
With your headlines at 12:03, I'm Nick Ellaby. Good afternoon. We understand William Saliba's agreed a new long-term contract at Arsenal. Saliba had been on Real Madrid's radar, with his previous deal expiring in 2027. Morgan Gibbs-White says Forest's main aim this season is to win the Europa League. So how's Ange Ball working out for them?
Yes, Forest conceded a goal late on in the game yesterday, but it was really organised defensively. You know, and particularly considering the pressure and the occasion, I thought that the whole team performance was really good, and you can see what Ange is trying to do with it.
That's talkSPORT presenter and Forest fan Max Scott, who was in Seville for their 2-2 draw with Real Betis. Ahead of Aston Villa's game tonight, Gabi Agbonlahor says Unai Emery is fair to label his players as lazy, as the team's defensive stats this season are poor.
There is problems, of course there is, but nothing that can't be addressed on the training pitch. And I'm sure the manager will pick the right team tonight to go and get...
Villa versus Bologna is live on talkSPORT from 7 p.m. Now, Nottinghamshire could wrap up their first county championship in 25 years today. Just 2 batting points on day 2 against Warwickshire will do the trick. They need to get to 300. Notts have just lost 2 quick wickets. They're 62 for 2. Either way, a draw should see them home. And talkSPORT's US writer tells us everything is leading toward a European away win at this weekend's Ryder Cup.
I think there's already some concern from the Americans that Europe has maybe the talent, the confidence. You have Rory, and yes, you have Scotty Scheffler and you have Bryson DeChambeau. But when I look at these two squads, it's continually favoring Europe.
Donald Trump will be in attendance tomorrow. The foursomes pairings are revealed tonight at 9 p.m. UK time. Lots more build-up on the talkSPORT Golf YouTube channel.
talkSPORT News.
Ticketmaster's agreed how to change the way it sells tickets after an investigation by the competition watchdog into the Oasis reunion tour, and the government's considering helping suppliers hit by Jaguar Land Rover's cyber attack. More from the news team at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. With our wide range of services on offer, including tyres, MOTs, servicing and brakes, you can drive away happy every time.
Storms coming in at Bethpage Black in New York. Here, another settled day, plenty of sunny spells, but cloudier in the northwest and southeast where the odd light shower is possible.
Well, that's right. And it's the walk-on music which leads to many people all around the country running towards their radios, running towards their TV sets, because that means Spencer Oliver is about to broadcast for the next hour, live on talkSPORT, live on TV with myself and Simon. And Spencer joins us at this particular time in the proceedings this Thursday as always. Good afternoon, Spencer.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
There is never a time you don't come in here and have that cheeky smile, that impish grin, and you're ready to go.
Best hour of the week, Jim. Best hour of the week working with yourself and Simon.
Spence, we're delighted to have you. So much talk about big events in the world of boxing. Of course, we have had a few. Are we in for another on December the 13th in Manchester? Is this one to put in our diaries? Because it was only yesterday Derek Chisora said, get this date down, I'm back.
Yo, let me tell you something. Are you ready? Let me tell you something. You not ready? We are going back to Manchester, 13th of December, road to 50, shut down. Do you understand? So book your hotels, book your restaurants. Me and Queensbury, we are coming to shut it down in Manchester, 13th of December. Opponent will be announced soon. I had one, but the big boss took him, so you can't really argue when the big boss said what he wants. So it happened. So, but Road to 50 in Manchester, shutdown. Last Dance 2 happening in Manchester. Whoa!
Last Dance 2. There's always a Last Dance that's maybe not the last one, but maybe this will be. He sits on 49 fights, Derek Chisora, and it's fight number 50. We understand it's going to be in the same card. We know it's going to be in the same card as Moses Atoma. Spencer, what do you know? Who's he fighting?
Yeah, had a good conversation with Derek last night, actually. What do I know? Who's he fighting? He wouldn't really say too much. There's names obviously in the hat.
Who's the top contender?
If you look at the heavyweight landscape right now, Alexander Usyk's out. You know, Agit Kabayel, he's busy. We got Wardley versus Parker. That's coming up on the 25th. So you're narrowing the names down, aren't you? You hear about Daniel Dubois coming back in December. Could it be Daniel Dubois? I mean, that would be a fascinating fight, him and Derek Chisora. But it is going to be a big name for sure. I mean, sharing, headlining with Moses Atama. He goes in. I reckon he'll probably box someone like a Jagba. That sells. That would be good. So Derek Chisora against a big name for sure.
Let me throw a name at you. I mean, reportedly coming back around that time, Daniel Dubois. Could you see that, Simon? Is that something that would get you off your seat? That Derek Chisora says goodbye on the night he fights Daniel Dubois?
Yeah, I mean, it could see Derek Chisora off his feet, let alone me off my seat. Yeah, I mean, I can see that fight for a variety of reasons, because it's a fitting end if indeed Derek decides that this is the end. It will command and demand a reasonable level of engagement, so that means the fees will be right. And Derek's on a good run of form. So, you know, Daniel...
He's won his last three,
Yeah, and prior to losing to Tyson Fury, he was on a reasonable run of form there as well.
Yeah.
So he's in decent nick, Derek, and you know that whoever goes in with Derek Chisora is going to be in a fight. I mean, you talk about Alexander Usyk describing the fight they had with Derek Chisora as one of the most difficult fights he had. And Derek actually thinking he could have won that fight and believes emphatically he could have won that fight.
Absolutely. I mean, look, Derek goes back to when he boxed Vitaly Klitschko in 2014. He put up a good effort boxing Klitschko, and he's boxed everyone since then. Tyson Fury, he's been in with twice. You know, Dillian White, he's been in with twice. And you just look at that, and his recent run of form, as Simon said, Gerald Washington was a good win.
Joe Joyce
as
Otto
well.
Wallin.
Otto Wallin last time out, and you go like, he has some momentum with him at the ripe old age of 41, coming up to his 50th fight. Here's the thing though, right? Derek Chisora, and I spoke to him last night, he said, yeah, this is it, 50 and done. What if he goes in against a big name, one of the names maybe that we've just mentioned,
and wins,
and he wins?
Yeah.
Then surely we get 51, right? So, you know, look, Derek says not, by the way. He says this is the farewell. I know we said it last time, but this time for sure is 50 and out. Let's see. It'll be an emotional night for sure, because Derek's been a fantastic servant to boxing.
If it is Daniel Dubois, if it is, we're not certain about it, not by a long stretch. I mean, that many people would show up for that, because as you rightly say, Simon, he's hitting a bit of form. Who's to say that Chisora doesn't put in a stellar performance and get Dubois out of there?
Absolutely. I mean, look, you look at Derek and the character of Derek. You know, we know that he's very durable and he takes a lot to try and knock him over. I mean, David Haye done it, and you know, we look at who else knocked Derek out. David Haye, and that's really sort of that's it. He's been in with everyone, took all the shots, and you go, if he takes Daniel Dubois into the later rounds, then Derek's got a chance. Absolutely,
every chance.
You definitely can't write him out.
Dillian stopped him.
And Dillian White, sorry, yeah, that's right. And that was late in the fight, in 11th round.
But if it is Dubois, Simon, is this suitable for him? He's looking for a rebuild fight.
Well, yeah, but this is a good rebuild fight because it has credibility attached to it, because everyone knows that Derek, irrespective of the fact that Derek's 41 years of age, he is going to give everybody a fight, and he's going to come to fight, and he's going to bring the fights. And Daniel will have questions asked of him. And so if Daniel were to deal with Derek in a compelling fashion, people will consider that as part of his rehabilitation. If it's a difficult fight for Daniel, people are going to look at it and go the polar opposite. So there's a lot of risk. If this is indeed the fight, which I wouldn't be surprised that it is, then I would be, I would think it's going to be a really intriguing fight. It's a fight I'd go and want to see, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. I think they're both at a certain stage of their career where there's a lot on the line for both guys, and you know, victory is a must for both guys as well. Yeah, it's an intriguing fight. Stylistically, these two lock horns. It's a fan-friendly fight, this.
And he's going to get asked. Daniel's going to get asked questions, because the questions still reverberate whether he likes it or he doesn't. The trainer a new trainer or no new trainer, about Daniel's stomach for certain things. And of course, it takes immense stomach to go into a boxing ring, something I've never done. I'm not judging it. I'm saying that at the elite level, there were questions asked about whether Daniel really wants to do certain things at certain times that elite fighters have to do when it comes on top. And Derek will bring that to him. Derek will bring that question to him.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we know the date, December the 13th. We know where, Manchester, and we know one of the fighters, Derek Chisora. The question is, who does he go in against? And we're trying to narrow it down, and we've alighted on Daniel Dubois. Maybe we're right on that. We think we might be. And once it's announced, we'll be able to confirm it to you. Moses Itoma on that same card. So all roads lead to Manchester, it would seem, on that date, the date being December the 13th, before December the 13th, in the month of November, specifically the 14th, another big fight, but a strange one. Jake Paul, Gervonta Davis. Yeah, we'll look at that next. lunchtime, we're talking boxing. Briefly in the world of football, Simon and I touched on it earlier on. William Saliba at Arsenal. It is a new 5-year deal for him. A 5-year deal for William Saliba. So the new man in there has managed to tie him down. What next? Will Saka be tied down next? We shall see. But William Saliba, a new 5-year deal for him at Arsenal. Spencer is in studio with us as we talk boxing this Thursday lunchtime. And only this morning, another big fight announced in this country. It's Fraser Clark. And we now know that Fraser Clark will go in against Jamie TKV for the British heavyweight title. And that is on October the 25th. It's in Derby on October the 25th in Derby. I'm delighted to say hot foot from that announcement is one Fraser Clark. Fraser, good afternoon.
Good to see you, Jim.
Good to see you, mate. And for those watching on your TV sets this Thursday lunchtime, you see Mr. Clark in his working habitat in the gym, having had a workout session by the looks of him. Fraser, tell us, are you upbeat about this? This is just announced in the last few hours.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. It's been a long 6 months since I last fought, and obviously with the boxer situation, there's been a lot of question marks. But I was delighted, to finally get this one over the line. We've got it done. A great fight against a good opponent for the British title. So I'm looking forward to it.
And just before the boys come in, this is Ben Shalom Boxer, and it's their first free-to-air model, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's live on the BBC, on BBC Two. Obviously, that, as a fighter, that it didn't matter to me where it was, but the fact that it's on the BBC Two and there's going to be so many eyes on it is good for all parties.
Yeah, it's great for boxing fans, isn't it, Fraser, that we get you boxing for the British title, BBC Two, 8 till 10, and you can switch over then and see your rivals, Fabio Wardley, going in against Joseph Parker. That's fantastic for boxing fans.
Yeah, fantastic for him. I mean, obviously, that's a mega fight, a massive fight, and you best believe if I wasn't fighting myself, I'd definitely be down to the O2 supporting that one because it'd be a great fight against two men who are really well. Really looking forward to that one, but more important business to take care of, Spence, and that's myself in Derby on the 25th.
Yep, you got the third attempt at the British title. You lost your first two to Fabio Wardley. Great to see you recovering from that.
I drew one, Spence. Give me that.
I'll give you that, actually. You're absolutely right, mate. Absolutely. But third attempt at trying to collect the title. So I apologise about that, mate. Fight of the year, by the way, as well. But the second one, you did get a shocking injury, but it's great to see you back, mate, and having all that confidence as well.
Yeah, the second one, obviously, what happened. I got my head spun, but at the end of the day, I've grew from that experience. I'm back. I feel better than ever. I had a nice run out against Tete, but I always want to be in title fights, and thankfully, I'm back fighting for the British title. And like I say, against a good Jamie TKV, one that I felt was pinging David Adelaide until that controversial finish. So I know what he's about. He's a good opponent, and I'm looking forward to the contest.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, Fraser, was the challenge that he represents. Obviously, Jamie came onto a lot of people's radar because of the fight with David Adelaide and because of the perceived injustice of the referee's intervention that created the knockout to some extent. How much of a challenge and how much of a difficult fight is Jamie TKV for you and stylistically for you?
I'm taking him very seriously, like I do all my opponents, but he's in a good gym. He's surrounded by good company. He's got good heavyweights in his stable, Moses Atuma, Fabio Wardley, Anthony Joshua, and we've seen what he brought to the ring last time he was out. I thought he was very impressive against David Adelaide, and to be honest, I thought he was winning the fight. So, and David Adelaide gave a good performance last time against Filip Ergovic. So, well, he competed a little bit. But, yes, I'm taking him very seriously, and I'm really up for this one.
Looking forward to it. I mean, you were impressive, Fraser, when you came back after the Wardley loss. I mean, you dispatched this fella, Ebenezer Tete, in style, first round stoppage.
Yeah, that was it was a run out, to be honest, which I needed. Obviously, there was a lot of question marks around me going into that fight after the injury. Is he going to be the same? But the only thing that happened from that injury, from that terrible time, was I got inspired. I had to go dig deep and find some self-belief. And I found that in bundles, and I'm proving it in the gym. I proved it against Tete, but, the British title is what it's about now, so it's time to prove it on the 25th.
And what if you beat Jamie TKV, and you're sure you will, and you become a British heavyweight champion? Is that it? Would that be a good time to say, right, I've got what I want now? Would you be content with that, or would you want more?
You watch your tongue, Jim, mate. There's no content there. Well, I don't know who you think you are. You might speak to some boxers that will be content with that, but absolutely not. I'm in a division that's thriving, and opportunity seems to be around every corner. Providing I do the business and do my job on the 25th, and do it impressive style, which I plan on doing. So no, that's definitely not the end for me. It'll be something ticked off the list. But like I say, opportunity around every corner in this division. Great fights to be made, but none of that even matters unless I do the business on the 25th, and I will do that.
Fraser, you've only had 11 contests as a professional, and to say that you are actually now a seasoned pro, which you are, the roller coaster that you've been on with that war that you've had, and then coming back from the injury that you sustained as well, I mean, is a credit to yourself, mate. I know you had a long amateur career, an extensive amateur career, but a relative novice really in the pro ranks, and you've achieved a lot already.
Yeah, well, we say that, Spencer. I've been in some big fights on some good occasions, but as far as achievements goes, I haven't achieved nothing yet. Do you know what I mean? That's the reality of it. When we put the accolades there, yeah, he's been involved in some big fights, but I've got no titles, I've got nothing to show for it. So I've got my chance again here. Like you said, I've had two bites at the cherry. This time I've got to make it happen, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm working harder than ever, like I say. And you're not measured off the big nights you've been involved in this sport. You're measured off what you've won, and that's what we're going to start doing.
So there's a lot on the line for you here, mate. It's a must-win contest, isn't it?
Absolutely. I feel like it is every time I go into the ring now. I think you might get your one chance, which obviously your one loss, which happened against Fabio Wardley, but and people say that was at British level, but look, Fabio's gone on and he's competing at a much higher level. He's competing at world level now, so I'm not sure where we want to place that fight, but this definitely is British level, judging on what Jamie's done so far. But like I said, I'm preparing for this like it's my world title fight.
Where do you see this fella's pathway, Simon? If he gets through this... Well,
I was about to ask him that, because ultimately, Fraser, I know that you won't look past this fight, and neither should you do, but there will be a thought process in the back of your mind, there'll be a thought process in your team's mind about the direction of travel. You'll see the re-energising of someone that you beat in Dave Allen, and where he's going and the opportunities he might be creating for himself. What would you like to see happen? Is it a European heavyweight title that you'd like to go for? Collect the belt, win the British against Jamie, move on to the European and give yourself an opportunity for scale? Or do you have designated targets in your mind, Fraser?
I think, it's a great question. There's definitely titles. It's what I'm in the sport for now. I'm in the sport to collect titles, earn money and do myself proud. But, the European title is something that is definitely prestigious, something I'd like to get. Looking at Dave Allen, he is like a beacon of hope for every fighter in the world, I believe. The way he's gone from almost nothing to something overnight without being disrespectful. He's in big shows, and he's someone I respect. I know I fought him and I beat him, so we'll see what level he's at, and we can determine where I go after that. Providing he wins against Makhmudov, who knows? We might see me and Dave again for the British title when I've won that. So anything's possible.
Fraser, good man. Looking forward to it. What are you going to bring then on October the 25th?
Bring in the heat. Come on, it is. You know what it is? It's going to be a derby. It's a smallish arena, a bit of a bear pit it's going to be. So it's going to be loud. It's going to be a good atmosphere. And, every time I get in the ring, one way or the other, there's excitement. That's not always been a positive for me. I've been on my back. I've been up, but I get knocked down, but I will get up again. And this time, I'm up to stay, mate.
Oh, Fraser, good luck, mate. And just to be clear, you wouldn't be happy just to stay as a British heavyweight champ. You want more, as you underlined moments ago to me.
You go and wash your mouth out, Jim. I don't want to hear that talk ever again.
Fraser, thank you very much indeed. I wish him well. He's a breath of fresh air in your sport, Spence, is he not?
Yeah, he really is. Jamie TKV, who he's fighting, is a breath of fresh air as well. Both two really nice guys.
Who wins it now that Fraser's no longer with us?
It's a really tough call, because Jamie TKV was winning that fight against David Adelaide, and he was getting into a rhythm, and you suspect he would have won if it wasn't for the controversy of the referee getting involved, pulling his hand away. So, look, it's a tough call. I mean, the experience is definitely with Fraser Clark. He's been there, seen it, done it. He's been in the trenches. He's had to come back from injury, all of that stuff. You'd probably lean towards Fraser on paper to be the favourite in that one, but it's a very interesting fight. You can't write Jamie off, because he sort of likes being that underdog as well, and it's a great opportunity for him.
Yeah, we've spoken to both of them in the past, Simon.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Fraser always is. You find yourself, enamoured with Fraser because he's such a warm personality. In the same way that you saw personalities in the studio with Fabio Wardley and Joseph Parker.
Yeah,
you don't have to be a bore. You don't have to be, someone that's unpleasant, like various names I could mention, to be someone that is a heavyweight champion.
Yeah, who's like that?
Who do you fancy?
Our mate from Morecambe.
Who wins it, Simon?
I would lean towards Fraser, but I don't think it would be easy for him.
No, it's a good fight.
Great fight. Derby on October the 25th, and it's for the British heavyweight title. Jimmy TKV going in against a man we've just been speaking to, Fraser Clark, this lunchtime. Stay with us. A lot more coming your way. We're at 12:30.
It could be the start of a special European campaign. That's the sentiment of a UEFA Cup winner with Forest as his old club draws its first game on the continent in 30 years. Elliot Anderson drew more praise, with talkSPORT's Scott Minto even comparing him to Cristiano Ronaldo during the stalemate against Betis. Gary Birtle says he's well impressed too.
You watch him on the pitch and he wants it in every area of the... Not scared to have the ball at his feet.
Celtic also drew away at Red Star Belgrade. Aston Villa versus Bologna is live on talkSPORT tonight from 7. Now, last night was a Premier League clean sweep in the League Cup as Arsenal, Newcastle, Tottenham and Man City all beat lower league opposition. Pep says it was the perfect opportunity for a bit of squad rotation.
I prefer rotate the team, and today was perfect, and for many players being had, Oscar played good, Sabio played good, so all of them were aggressive. Without the ball, we were really, really, really good.
You can see the fourth round draw at talkSPORT.com. And ahead of the start of the Ryder Cup tomorrow, European captain Luke Donald couldn't help a little dig at the Americans as they're getting paid to play in this year's competition. Donald said his side's fuelled by something money can't buy. Pro golfer Andrew Beef Johnston told talkSPORT this will only add fuel to the fire.
The Americans will not want to lose. They will not want to lose. I mean, you'll see it. There'll be a lot of fight. There's always fight in that American team.
Boxing update on talkSPORT with DAZN, the global home of boxing. Sign up now at dazn.com/boxing.
That's right. Just a reminder that DAZN brings you over 185 fights a year and an undisputed schedule featuring stars like Dave Allen, Joshua Buatsi, Jaron Ennis, Nathaniel Collins and many more. Sign up now at dazn.com/boxing. Spencer is in our midst. We are talking boxing this lunchtime. We being Jim White, Simon Jordan and Spencer Oliver. And we're talking about big fights on the horizon. Derek Chisora, we know, is going to fight later on in the year. But how about this? In 2 months, Anthony Yarde will face the unbeaten WBC world champion David Benavidez. It's not here, it's in Saudi Arabia. And remember, this won't be his second attempt to win a world title. It'll be Yarde's third attempt after losses against Sergei Kovalev in 2019 and Arthur Beterbiev in 2023. Yarde's trainer and manager, Tunde Ajayi, joins us live this lunchtime. Tunde, I tell you what, third time lucky, is it?
I don't think luck has anything to do with it, but it's definitely the third time, and hopefully it's going to be the best time.
He's not had an easy route, has he, Tunde? You look at the fighters that he's had to go in with, Kovalev back in 2019 out in Russia, and then Beterbiev more recently. You go like, fighters that get these opportunities to fight for world titles, Anthony Yarde certainly hasn't had an easy one.
Definitely. I feel like Ant's been in there against Hall of Famers, you know, two of the greatest Russian fighters ever to put on a pair of gloves. And in both contests, you know, Ant proved he belongs in world class, probably a little bit inexperienced both times. I mean, when someone's had 300, 400 amateur fights and going up against Ant, who only had 12 amateur fights, I think experience played a big part. But, you know, listen, I've pulled the old 12-fight novice amateur fight for long enough. Ant's very experienced now. That's my son. Ant's very experienced now, and we're ready to go.
Well, he gets his third opportunity against David Benavidez, a guy that's undefeated as well. People that don't know him, known as the Monster, knocked most of his opponents out. Again, not another world title shot, but a very difficult opponent.
Yeah, I mean, listen, again, you said it, Spence. You know, Ant can't be. There's no way Ant has taken an easy ride. And, you know, listen, I think when a fighter's career is over, probably 2 months after their career is over, everyone forgets about them. So it's always, for me and I guess for Ant, it's about living in the moment, looking yourself in the mirror and knowing that when the opportunities arose, that you never backed down. You know, you took the challenge. And that's what we want to see, right? We don't want to hear about fights being offered to others and they're turning it down. We already know David Benavidez, and you're all gonna see it on the Gloves Are Off. every fighter turned down David Benavidez, including Bivol, including Beterbiev, including Joshua Buatsi, including Callum Smith. At the first call, David Benavidez's dad said it. Within 5 minutes, Turki Al-Sheikh asks Anthony, does he want the fight? And guess what? The fight was made. So Ant is there, Spence, and he always has been there. He's a fighter through and through.
That's good to hear, Tunde. That's good to hear. Simon, here's the thing. Anthony Yarde, when he's fought the likes of Kovalev and Beterbiev, he, as Tunde has alluded to, he's not afraid to go in there. And he's had some big moments against big opponents. Is he world level?
Yeah, of course he is. Of course he's world level. He's been, but the thing with, and Tunde and I will disagree on this, he's been a gallant loser. He's got a lot of currency out of being very competitive in fights with very good fighters. And Benavidez, the question about Benavidez is, does he carry the power up at light heavy? Because he hasn't knocked anybody out at light heavy. It's a difficult fight for Anthony. He was in the studio 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I think he was brilliant in what he said. I don't know about Callum Smith ducking Benavidez. I'm sure the Smith brothers have something different, a different view on that. But it's a great fight. And it's a fight, I think, that Anthony has a chance of winning. I mean, Benavidez is the real deal.
Absolutely. And can I add to that, like, you know, talking about being world-class, Anthony Yarde, yes, he is world-class. And the two fighters that he has lost to, you go, well, he's come up short, but they are pound-for-pound stars. They're not just regular world champions, because you do get opportunities when certain titles become vacant, etc., etc. Yarde is a guy that has stepped up to the plate against both fighters at the time when no one wanted to fight them.
But here's the thing, though, Tunde. Your man Anthony Yarde doesn't want to be known just as a gallant loser, to use Simon's words.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be known as a loser, hence why he continues to go for his dreams. He continues to campaign with so much will. And if there's one thing everybody better get ready for, is a fight. Anthony Yarde will not be denied. And how do you know he keeps on coming back? And yes, listen, we're not going to disagree. He has come up short. But isn't it better to come up short knowing that you've tried than not to try at all, Sam?
Of course.
And as I said, when all's said and done, boxers are quickly forgotten about. And if there's one thing Anthony Yarde is going to be remembered by, it's just like that man in the gym in Manor in Victoria said to me, Anthony Yarde's my favourite fighter. Why? Because he takes his challenge, and that's what boxing is about. This is what the fans pay to see. This is why he's heading the bill in Saudi Arabia with the youngest ever undisputed champion, Bam Bam Rodriguez, who is my favorite fighter outside of Anthony Yarde, Abdullah Mason, Sam Noakes, Artur Beterbiev is now fighting on the undercard of Anthony Yarde. So how funny life is. But that's what happens when you dare to be great over and over again.
Yeah, that really is a great card on the 22nd, Tund, and it's good to see Anthony getting that another opportunity going in for that world title. Do you feel that this is his last chance to win the world title this third time, or do you feel that even if he comes up short, there's more opportunity?
Yeah, I never agree with that. The last chance.
No, I'm asking you. Do you feel that?
No. I don't feel because, as you have all said, David Benavidez is a young champion, and there's always going to be champions. How many times has my good friend whose gym we're in at the moment, Derek Chisora, people have asked him to retire, but he keeps on getting the big fights, and you're all going to be delighted at his next fight in December. And this is what happens when someone refuses to give up, and they're physically fit and healthy, and they're in the gym every day. Anthony Yarde is a consummate professional, never taken more than a week out of the gym in over 10 years. And that's why he's here again for the third time. The only man ever, I know some of you boxing historians may or may not know, the only other person
this challenge in front of Anthony, do you think this is his best chance to have won a fight? I mean, obviously Beterbiev, when he fought him, was at the peak of his powers potentially. Kovalev, he had chances, but he was very young in Anthony's career, and the inexperience probably got the better of him when he could have taken the opportunity and could have gotten him out of there. So both of those have a backstory to them. Do you think this is the most difficult, the biggest opportunity? What do you think, Tunde?
Well, I think it's a great opportunity, Sam, because the main factor is Ant has got the experience. Another main factor is the fact that Anthony is a career light heavyweight. as you alluded to, David Benavidez has fought two light heavyweights now. He gassed out in the first one against Govestic, and he fought a 10-fight novice in David Morrell, and he got dropped twice. So I'm not overlooking that. It is a great opportunity for Anne, and one, I feel, without doing any talking, I feel Anne is going to shock a lot of people on that night.
Well, we hope so.
Terrific. 2 months' time. Tunde, thank you very much indeed. Tunde Ajayi, who is the trainer and manager of Anthony Yarde, as Anthony goes in for the third time to try and win himself a world title, this time around against David Benavidez, and that's in Saudi Arabia. We are coming up to 1:45. I think we're going to finish with one of the top promoters, and that is Frank Warren. Now, the latest episode of the talkSPORT Daily is available now, looking at how to recover from the worst start to any season. Former Southampton defender Franny Benali explains what Wolves need to do to turn things around, having lost their opening 5 league games of the season, just like his Saints side did back in 1998. Tune in on the talkSPORT app or wherever you get your podcast from, and you will find out. We're going to find out a lot more as to what's going on in the world of boxing in the final part today. Spencer is in studio alongside Simon and myself. I'm delighted to say we've been joined for our final part today, top boxing promoter. Many would argue the real star, one of the real stars of the recent Netflix documentary series involving the Hearns, and he is Frank Warren. Mr. Warren, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, chaps. How are you?
Now, for those watching on your TV at the moment, this is what you look like when you make millions from the world of boxing and you've been extremely successful over many years. Frank, you're being driven around the streets, presumably of London, with your shades on and the sun out. You're looking $1 million.
$1 million lira.
Which is about 75p, yeah.
$1 million lira. You're looking good, Frank. You're looking good.
Thank you. You don't look bad yourself, sweetheart.
We found out this morning a bit more as to the wheres and whens for Derek Chisora. It's going to be December the 13th in Manchester, and it says 50th and goodbye fight. Who's he going to fight, Frank?
I don't know yet. It's something we've got to sort out. We've got quite a way to go yet before we officially announce that. So, you know, but when we do, we do. We've got some great cards coming up, but I just can't give you any information on that at the moment because we were looking at an opponent, but that opponent's no longer available. So we've got to fish around and hunt for a new one.
Would a man who's looking for a rebuild fight be available and be in your thoughts, and he'd be Daniel Dubois?
He's always in my thoughts, but at the moment he has an injury, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting finish to the year, Frank, isn't it? With these heavyweights, we've got this great fight coming up with Fabio Wardley, Joseph Parker, and you're looking at where the landscape lies, who goes in with who. We got Deontay Wilder floating around as well. Is he in the picture?
No, not on one of our shows. He isn't, not at the moment.
But Moses Atoma, of course, building up to a big finish. He'll top the bill on the night Chisora fights. What more can you tell us about who
it's
Moses may face up to?
Jim. We're working on opponents for him at the moment, and once we know where we are, we'll announce them. It's very difficult, and obviously I know everybody wants to know what's happening, but it's very difficult when you start talking about names and then suddenly they're not available, or because you talk about them, they ask for crazy money. So we wait until we've got the deal done. But, you know, Moses will definitely be fighting, as we announced earlier, be fighting at the end of the year, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him back in action.
I mean, in your sphere of business, someone like Moses Atoma, when people see what he's capable of, do you get a polite no thanks from a few?
You get that from some of them, and then the other way of saying no thanks is to ask for crazy money, which doesn't make it economically viable. But there are people, obviously, who do want to fight him, and we're talking to a couple at the moment, and you know, we've delivered for him up to as yet, and we will deliver for him at the end of the year.
It's been quite a job, Frank, hasn't it, to try and hold Moses back and gain him that experience, and as we all know, get him those valuable rounds that's needed before he steps up into those world honours. So that really has been more difficult than sort of letting him go, isn't it?
Well, it has, but it's funny, all the names you talk about, like Derek's 41, thinking of fights he's had, Deontay Wilder, world champion, the experience he's had, and, you know, various other names that you know, even Fraser Clark, are looking at his record, what he's had and so forth, who's been on this morning. And then you look at Moses, who's only had 13 fights. He's never had a senior amateur bout or junior bouts.
Frank, I was going to ask you, what do you make of Eubank's comments recently? Chris Eubank, June, you've been on the receiving end of some of them. He threw some comments around. Robert Smith caught some shrapnel about some of the observations about the safety aspect of the fight, the ambulance guys not being allowed to let him out of the stadium, Eddie coming in through it. When you listen to that, I mean, what do you make of that?
It's garbage.
That's
you
what
know,
I
there's
thought.
no way anybody stops an ambulance, and that would be down to the venue anyway. It's the venue who controls what happens outside the ring area. You know, the promoter's responsible for what we call the backstage area and the actual ring itself. All other aspects of security lies with the stadium that you book. So it's just a nonsense. And, you know, the stuff he said with Robert Smith, I mean, you know, I'm just, you know, I wouldn't put up with that, but that's up to them what they do.
Indeed. What's happening? How good a fight are we looking forward to when Zach Parker goes in against Josh Boazzi, Frank?
I think it's going to be look, you know, for both of them, that's a real crossroad fight. I mean, we say it a lot in boxing, but it is a massive, massive fight for the pair of them. You know, they're both good fighters. They both need to win. And that's why it's going to be such a dramatic fight. I really do feel we're going to see something extra special with a fight up there.
Yeah, that's November the 1st, Frank, isn't it? And like you
Manchester, yeah, that's in Manchester, yeah. And it's a really good card, you know, some really good light heavyweights on there. The light heavyweight division is a little bit on fire at the moment. So, you know, the guys are on there and it's a good card. But, you know, you know, Josh Boazzi and Zach I think is going to be a real tough fight for both of them.
Yeah, crossroads fight for both of them. And you know, the winner keeps his name in the frame for world title shots, and for the loser, they are both at that stage of their career where you go, where do they go? You know, have they got any appetite to box at a lower level?
Yeah, well, that's the bottom line of it, as you say. But if you want to fight the best and make the money, you got to get there and you got to win meaningful fights. And this is a meaningful fight.
Well, that leads you on to the conversation we just had previously with Tunde, who was on a moment ago about Anthony Yarde. I mean, you had a bit of nonsense with Anthony 18 months ago. That's all been sorted out. You've now got him another shot for a world title. How do you look at that fight, Frank?
It's a tough fight. He's in with a guy who has the 4 belts. He's a very, very good quality fighter. But for Anthony, this is another opportunity for him. One thing about it is he's got a lot of experience now, and he's going to need it because he's in with a good fighter. You know, with Benavidez, it's whether I know he has taken the power up there, but you know, he's in with a real solid competitor in Anthony, who until he got beat by Beterbiev was giving him a tough fight, as he was with his other previous challenge, which I think, you know, he went in with not enough, maybe the experience side of not just him, the corner as well, and it didn't work for him. But the fact of the matter is, it is an opportunity. It's a great fight card, a real great fight card, and you know, things happen in boxing. You know, there are you know, what we call upsets in boxing, and you know, for Anthony, this is a massive opportunity for him.
And Frank, I think we should finish in what perceivably could be described as a battle of the promoters. October 25, you get Wardley Parker, and Ben Shalom has Clark up against Jamie TKV on free to air. Has Frank decided that he doesn't want to respond to that one?
I think it's fair to say.
Is he back? Did you go through a tunnel there, Frank?
I don't know what it was. I think I had a blackout. I've got to be honest, I'm a bit disappointed that, you know, I think they've done a 4-fight deal with BBC, and the first show that the BBC date give them is to clash with another show. It's madness. I don't understand it. But look, it is what it is. It's up against our show. I mean, the 2 guys are fighting on our main event. You know, Fabio Wardley is in a real tough fight against Joe Parker. I mean, these are different levels, by the way. And you know, Fabio's beaten obviously Fraser in big style, certainly in the last fight. And I really do like Fraser, but he absolutely poleaxed him in his last fight, or the fight he had with him. And then you look at Joe Parker, who's on a roll and is a interim champion. So it's a big fight. It's a great fight card. And it is what it is. We'll get on with it and do what we got to do. You know, but levels, these are different levels we're talking about. Seriously different levels.
Yeah. I thought you'd fallen out with me there, Frank, when I asked about Ben Shalom and free to air and the threat that poses.
I mean, I know it's your favourite subject, Jim, but, you know, come on. Well, one thing about it, all we'll be doing is talking about it 4 times a year now.
Frank, great to speak to you. Carry on cruising around that particular part of London in the sunshine with those expensive shades on. Frank Warren joining us this lunchtime. Spencer Oliver, there's nothing more to be said than thanks a million.
Thank you, Jim.
Safe flight.
Wonderful as always.
Thanks, guys. Off to Nigeria on Sunday.
Off to Nigeria, the much-travelled Spencer Oliver.
Yep, Brandon Glanson versus Marcus Brown. We've got Amir Khan.
Cruiserweight?
Yeah, cruiserweight. Yep. Great fight there. We've got Amir Khan's nephew on there as well, Abdul Khan. Amir Khan Promotions out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Dan Aziz as well. He's also boxing out there. So a lot of eyes. Moses Atama, Lawrence Okoli, and a whole raft of other fighters are going out there as well. It's going to be live on the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel.
Spencer, thank you so much. Travel safe and you stay safe, and I'll see you very soon.
You will.
It's at 1 o'clock.